my shirt. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Kids Club.
Step 1, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they ride, Head full of flies, so here come the clouds, They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost, Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
My bite's not close to my bark, buddies. And slid down so we can see a red suitcase right here for law enforcement. And if they're watching and you guys would like to come back here. Of her being out here. So this is what we're doing today. We will see you guys back here real soon.
You are who you hang out with. They're not likely you're gonna get too far away from your roommates. So if your 5 roommates are all shredded yogi instructors that drink kale smoothies, one of 2 things is likely happening. You're gonna be the 6th, or you're getting new friends, if they're your best friends. That's gonna happen. If all of your friends piss and moan about working and capitalism and being held to a standard, the chances that you're gonna buck that trend for any length of time is very low. And one of 2 things will then happen. You will either become like them or you will get new friends. And that's not some elitist shit. It's just one of the ways we connect is through shared values. And you're gonna have a really hard time being friends with someone closely whose values are wildly different than your own. Like, we like to say opposites attract, and it is true when it comes to personality, way less true when it comes to values. You're either going to surrender your values or you're gonna surrender your set of friends.
Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
All right, we all showed up. Now we can go home. The day's over. Bye. It was nice to see you this Thursday. We'll see you later. Goodbye. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. Good morning to my beautiful people of YouTube. I hope you guys are doing amazing. Let me see something. I don't like the way this is. The internet's doing well, but I did set up. There we go. That's probably going to be a little bit better. There we go. There we go. Now my lips are syncing. I can see everything going on behind the scenes. So I hope everybody's having this wonderful Thursday. We are going to get back to what we do best, and that's talking about true crime and the true crime cases. There's a lot of stuff going on. But before we, I'm kind of hesitant on how I want to come into the show, because here's the issue. So a little bit ago, something happened. I was informed of a situation that happened in the Layla Santinello case. Okay, here's the thing. You guys know how I feel. I advised Jen, whenever she was talking about getting a PI, I remember just saying, whatever you do, just don't use somebody from YouTube. And quite frankly, SF, haven't seen him, haven't heard him, since the Kylie Rodney case. He was the furthest thing from my mind when I made that statement to her, literally the furthest thing from my mind. But then I heard George and Brittany were working with this guy. And I didn't even find that out until he started publicly attacking me on Twitter. And I'm like, why is this guy coming after me? Then I realized this is the SF Investigate guy, this Yahoo that was in the Kylie Rodney case. We all know how that went. So it's long story short, there was a trust issue there. I believe for Jennifer, because to be honest with you, she got in touch. I didn't get her in touch with a private investigator. Just want to make sure that that's clear. It wasn't my private investigator. Didn't refer her to any specific person. My only suggestion was find somebody where you are, because that's where your missing is, and that's where you need the PI to be. So that's what I basically said to her, giving her friendly advice, on best practices. Well, apparently SF has reached out to the family. He had already spoke to Jen, and it sounds like she may have been on board with hiring him. Okay. I had no idea. But again, my suggestion, and it would have still been, if he would actually, my commentary would have probably been a lot different to her if I found out she was talking to SF Investigates from out the gate, just because of what we saw with Kylie Rodney. But I digress. I had no idea. I just simply told her to stay away from PIs from the internet. She took that advice and hired a PI in Tennessee. So glad she did. because yet again, here's another PI creating such horrible, ridiculous drama in a case that doesn't need it. We're out here looking for Layla Santinello. Anything over and above the search for Layla Santinello and keeping this focus, it's noise. It's noise, it's drama that doesn't need to be brought into the case. But this is the kicker. He keeps telling, like, this whole time that he has badgered me, I blocked him. I blocked him and his whole unprofessional team, by the way. Blocked them all on Twitter. I toyed with them a little bit. I'll be honest with you. I toyed with them a little bit to see how invested they were going to be in with this fight with me. And it went on for days, which the only reason why I did it is just to find out how professional this outfit is. You know, somebody that takes days and engages in this back and forth, this childish back. And I made sure it was really petty too. I made sure that it was really petty just to gauge his response and how long he was going to carry it forward. And I even publicly said that here on this channel. So even if he was watching, he would have known that we were toying with him, and he kept going. This is what you call a professional PI. But I digress. Jennifer Santinello is a much better woman. I don't want to deal with the drama, so I don't want to deal with him. Right. This is not my child. This is not my case. I just go out there every few weeks to do a search. That's all I do, right? But Jennifer she's looking for her daughter. She doesn't give a rat's ass who helps. She doesn't care who helps. It could be you. It could be me. It could be, Steve. It could even be Jim Taylor. She does not care who helps the case as long as they're helping her daughter and helping trying to find answers. That's the only requirement. Pretty simple. Seems pretty reasonable to me. She doesn't want to deal with anybody that's not looking for her daughter or not physically engaged. That is her only concern, her primary concern. She doesn't care really about anything else other than taking care of her family and finding her daughter. Anything else over and above that matters to this woman zilch. Okay? The drama, the pettiness, the noise matters to this woman zilch. She is putting up with it just to keep her daughter's name out there. But she did say, you know what? I don't care about whatever's going on. I just want people working for my daughter. So, here's my PI's information, Steve. You go take care of all of this. You communicate with my my PI. But mind you, before this all behind the scenes where they said, okay, we're going to put all this stuff behind us. We're going to move forward in a positive way for the sole purpose of trying to find and helping Layla. So she goes out and says, and she explains to the public that, she's giving them basically the olive branch, but she did want to make sure she explained what had taken place and how upset she was about them releasing a private communication between them and her. Totally unprofessional, totally unethical. Okay. And they released that. I think it was a message between her and Chloe, which Steve says Chloe is part of his team. Whatever. Whatever that relationship is, not my concern. But he is publicly stating that Chloe is part of his team. And Chloe is out there releasing private confidential information and communications between her and a mother of a missing person on a social media platform, by the way. A public social media platform. Totally unprofessional, totally unethical. But she says, you know what? Whatever. I digress. They have information. He's saying that they have a lot of information about my case. Let me just get them in contact with my PI. Okay. So now it looks like we finally made a great step forward in this situation, right? Everybody's finally agreeing to get along and share information. Sounds like a winner chicken dinner. We're down with that all day long. Am I not lying? Everybody helping, all hands on deck for Layla Santinello. Can't be any better than that, right? We can't get any better than that. But, right, this is why we tell people and caution people, stay away from these animals on YouTube and on social media. The ones that are in these missing person chats, if you have a PI that's seeking out business, they're probably not a very good PI, because I can tell you all the good PIs I know stay very busy. And I can promise you, they are not in missing person chat rooms, eliciting people that are down on their luck in an effort to exploit them, Remember, we were told that we exploit families on here. I have never entered a family's life, pranced them up on my panel, and told and raised money for them to turn around and give to me. That is exploitation. I have never engaged in that. I will never engage in that. But this is what SSF Investigates did. And then he starts dangling the carrot by saying, oh, I have all this information about your daughter. We have all these massive leads. So now you're brought into the case. What does he do? I am no longer associated with the Layla Santinello case because of yada, 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 yada. Give me a break. You lied to this family. You exploited this family. You told them you had all of this information. And once again, you failed. You are a loser. And not only that, dude, like you just went on there and called me a freaking grifter. What in the F are you doing? If that's not a grift, which is petty swindling, which telling a family that you're going to help them pro bono, but hey, you got to pay to fly me in and fly me out and pay for my room and board and food and everything else. That's not pro bono, dude. And if they're going to pay all those thousands of dollars to travel you in, why would they not just get their own PI already in Tennessee? Again, coming back to my original question I had weeks ago. But just think about it. A PI, a licensed PI, attacking a mother of a missing daughter. Now, you can't get any lower than that. You can't get any lower than that. But I will tell people out there as a cautionary thing, people are not allowed to release your private communications with them. There is a fiduciary and ethical duty that a PI has, whether you're their client or not, whether they are your client or not. He put himself into this case. He publicly helped and put the George and Brittany on shows to elicit funds to help pay for him. And then he does this. This is not a professional PI. His team is not professional. And I think since he's so magnificent, I think we need to help spread how wonderful this man is. So what I'm planning on doing, because he found 14 people. He found 14 people in 2023 so far. So far, I think he's the highest rated PI that has found the most people in the United States this year. I think that is a badge of honor. And I think his local media needs to know about this. And I think people in his local area need to know how great he is. So I'm really thinking, in addition to, maybe possibly filing something and taking pictures of what they posted and maybe going after a complaint. But I definitely think that their local media stations should be having him on, talking about all his accolades. So we're going to start a campaign to help Steve SF Investigate out so he can be more notable for all of his accolades. And so we are going to find out all of his local media stations, and we're going to pepper them with how much we love and adore SF Investigates and his extensive work in bringing 14 people home. I mean, he is spectacular at finding people. And you know what the crazy thing is the media is not paying attention because there are no articles, not one article about SF Investigates and him finding 14 people this year. Like, holy smokes. Like, this needs to get out. Like, this guy is amazing. And I think that all those investigative news organizations in his community really need to be promoting him and in talking about all of these 14 cases that he brought people home in. I mean, do you guys agree? I mean, he sounds amazing. We should make sure that everybody knows his name. If you agree with me, put a 1 in the chat. If you think we should just let the noise go and just keep moving forward with Layla Santinello and C'est la vie, good riddance, put a 2 in the chat. But I'm just thinking, if he's so spectacular, I just undid you, Phoenix. So if you're going to come in here and start this crap in my chat room again, I'll just block you again. So calm your britches down, okay? For the love of everything holy, just calm down, okay? Try to wake up on a good side of the bed for once in your life. Okay. So, it looks like the channel, this is the majority rules, side of YouTube. We don't, and it does appear that people say that, yeah, we need to, definitely promote this PI and all of his accolades and the 14 people he was able to bring home. I mean, when I didn't find any articles about it, I'm like, we just need to make sure that this is, that we're on top of the roof with our Bullhorn, talking about this amazing information that we learned, and since, we know how mainstream media is, they just don't cover this stuff like they used to. So, I think it needs to be in, and I'd love to see all the people he's helped. I would love to see how many people, what their names are and the stories behind them and how he found them and brought them home. All 14 of them. I think it'd be very interesting. So maybe we'll start working on that. Hopefully we can get him some attention. Maybe he won't need so much business from these missing person chat rooms. Just might help him, just might help him. We're all about helping people around here. So let's get him some help. We'll start working on finding out all his news organizations in and around his community and making sure they know about the 14 amazing people he's found this year. Why not? Right? Why not? So where are we here? I know I took a few people off block today. So for those that are finally in here and can comment, you guys are being able to comment, and you guys can do what you will with it. If you want to make it last for a little while, you can come in here and be nice and be cordial and say what you mean what you say, but you don't have to say it mean, and you don't have to say it nasty, and you don't have to be nasty, right? But if you would like to come in here and have conversations about these cases, by all means, come on in and enjoy. But this kind of stuff, no, honey, you need to go look in the mirror, because again, you're over here. You don't ever see me going anywhere. I don't have to. But I don't mind exposing your black heart. I don't mind showing people the nasty on YouTube, the scum. Like the bottom of the earth, bottom feeding individuals on YouTube, such as yourself. I don't mind. So we'll keep you up there for a little bit, because everybody that associates Phoenix are going to associate with pathetic. And trust me, Phoenix, they're not going to be associating the pathetic part with me, because I'm not the one screaming for attention. I have my own show. I do just fine. I do just fine. But again, I will make sure that you stay unblocked for a little bit until you start getting too nasty. So if you'd like to sit around and hang out, you're more than welcome to. But you're going to keep doing this. It's a good way to get blocked again. So take it for what you will. But hey, I'm giving the olive branch to you, right? So you can choose to be nasty, or you can choose to take the second chance and, be nice and, have your opinion be heard. Right? I mean, if that's what it's all about, if it's all about you wanting to have your opinion heard, you can do that. But the rules are you can't be nasty to people. You can't be rude or mean. It's called being an adult, having an adult conversation. And I find that that's very hard for a lot of adults here on the streets of YouTube. So if you would like to be an adult, you're more than welcome here. And I've unblocked you so you can adult today. You don't have to be juvenile. You don't have to go back to middle school. We can have, adult conversations over here. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Did you injure your eye? Why would I injure my eye? You guys realize that when we're on camera, we've got all these lights and stuff here, that there's things called shadows. And this is only pushing at 720p, not 1080p. So, you know, I mean, I what do you want me to say? I can't. But anyways, I hope you guys see that, you know, you guys are more than welcome over here. I'm not kicking you out. I'm just tired of the shenanigans. If you want to come over here and have conversations about these cases, you're more than welcome. If you're over here to attack me, my subscribers, my moderators, or other people that are just here to have a conversation about these cases, if that's your primary goal, then you're not welcome and you will be blocked. So if you want to be adult and you want to have conversation about these cases, and you can leave the pettiness and the attacks and at the front door when you come in, you're more than welcome here. It's pretty simple stuff. I'm a pretty nice person. You just don't want to piss me off. That's all. I mean, if we can all just understand that, and even and there's some blank screen. There's a blank screen one. That's Aileen. She can't change her name for like a week, so I've unblocked her. So I know our typical thing is to block all blank screens because we know that they're here to just create drama and chaos. But you know, we're going to be careful even if there's a blank screen in our chat, if they're being cordial and kind and polite and discussing these cases, they're more than welcome to stay. But as far as all the chaos that's been going on, all the drama that's been strummed up, that is no longer welcomed here. No longer. And it's a zero tolerance policy because people shouldn't be acting like that. To me, by me allowing it to happen in this chat, I feel like I am enabling mental illness to go unchecked. And we promote health, we promote mental health, and I'm not going to enable unstable behavior on this channel. I'm just not going to do it. If you want to act right, we can all get along. We can all discuss these cases. Even if we have Mike in here. Mike Stevens is in here just about every single day. I can promise you, Mike and me are like 50-50. You know what I'm saying? We're like 50-50 on how we agree. Like Mike always goes for the underdog. God bless Mike for that. But Mike just sees a different side of people and just believes in the good. My experience is much different. I see animals for animals. And, you know, I don't give the benefit of the doubt if there's none to be had. You know what I'm saying? So even with Mike, we don't agree, like literally maybe 50% of the time. Yet Mike comes over here and enjoys himself every day, kicking the breeze with the people, you know, having the bantering back and forth. You know, it's a fun experience. So it's not this whole illusion that we just kick people out that doesn't agree with us. That is a bold-faced lie, because if that was true, Mike wouldn't even be here. And Mike is here literally for all the trials. I mean, we even coined Mike our resident defense attorney, right? I mean, because you know, it's just one of those things. So it's not that we can't have differing of opinions. It's just the insult, the snarkiness, the nastiness. That's a good way to get kicked off here. And you can't sit there and say, oh my God, Bullhorn Betty's being mean. No, I treated you with the same nastiness you treated me with. And if you can give it, by God, you better take it. Because I'm not the one. You want to come here and be received, and trust me, I'm in politics. So literally all day long, I'm looking at people that totally despise my policies and stuff like that. And we work great together. And certainly if I can work great with people that completely politically cannot align, but we can align on certain things. Naturally, there are people out here with some scruples in their brains that can say, hey, can't we all just work together positively on these cases? But that's not the case. People are having pissing contests over these cases. They want to be bringing in the views and clicks. We don't care over here. We really don't. I don't care. I got less than 200 people. There's been times I've had 1,100 people, 5,000 people in this chat. It doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't. I'm going to roll. I mean, shoot, we did trials that netted 80 people in here for 8 hours a day. If it was truly about the clicks and the views on this channel, we would have the clicks and the views because you guys know I'd go get them. It's not about that. It's about the quality of the information, especially about these cases like Layla Santinello, where families are at a loss as to what happened to their daughter and just want help and aren't getting a whole lot of help. This is a small community. You know, there's just a lot of things that are hitting against Jen's family, the entire family. I'm not, separating George and Brittany from Jen. I mean, they're all hurting. Whether they get along with each other or not, they're all hurting. I mean, this was their child. And nothing. We hear all the times about parents doing the worst things to their children and the children still wanting to be with their parent because it's their mom or their dad. We know that love. So it doesn't really matter what the dynamic is. They're all missing somebody that they love and they need help. They need help. I don't see where all this chaos is helping the case. It's helping bring viewers in. It's helping put money in pockets. But it's not helping put money in pockets in the right way. This family needs help. They don't need a creator getting clicks and views. They need real, legitimate help. Somebody talking about their case. Somebody talking about their case more than 15 minutes and then taking 4 hours and bitching about everybody else. That's not what they need. They need somebody talking about this case. Telling people information. She was last seen at the Marble Slab Creamery. At the Eaststone Commons, she's 4'10", 115 pounds, blonde hair, brown eyes. There's somebody with information. There's gaps in the timeline that we need to fill. There's people that are coming forward with information, with nuggets of information that's helping, but it's not providing the necessary leads in this case that are needed. There's a $2,000 reward. We're trying to raise the money to increase that reward. We're literally doing everything we possibly can. Everything that we possibly can to help Jen, help Layla's family, and get Layla's name and information out there. That's what we're doing. Hit that like. You just described yourself. And see, this is what I'm talking about. Keep your nonsense in check. Insults are not welcome here. We're talking about a case. We're not talking about Bullhorn Betty. We're not talking about you. We're not talking about your stupid love fest for these hate channels. We're not talking about any of that. We're talking about Layla, and here you are disrupting that conversation. How is this helping? I'm going to start calling you assholes out. How is this helping? If you don't like it, why are you here? Why should I have to block you for you to act like an adult and say, hey, I don't like this content creator. I'm not going there anymore. When are you going to start taking responsibility for your bad behavior? When? This is my channel. Do you not understand that? If you don't like the commentary coming out of my mouth, don't come back here. You don't need to be in my chat disrupting it. I'm allowed to do whatever I want. This is my channel. I worked very hard to build this channel, so I can say whatever the hell I want. Now, if you don't like it, what I would suggest to you is go and work your ass off, build your channel so you have the opportunity to say what you want to say to an audience. But I have a right to because I worked for it. You're not working for it. You're intimidating, you're trashing, you're insulting, you're being a nasty person to get attention because you don't want to work the right way to get it. That's why. So again, if you'd like to stick around, stick around. I shouldn't have to block you. If you do not like what's going on this channel, leave. You have control over you and you alone. Actually, as a matter of fact, let's get on to our language of letting go today. Our message for the language of letting go. September 28th, you're responsible for you. We can delegate tasks, but we can't delegate responsibility if the responsibility is really ours. Sometimes it's normal to delegate tasks to other people. We may hire people to do certain things for us. We may engage in contracts with therapists or healers to help us work through certain issues. But the responsibility for which piece of advice we follow and the decision we make in our own lives ultimately belong to us. It's easy to get lazy. We can let friends and employees or even skilled therapists begin making our decisions for us. We can listen to what they say and blindly take their advice. Then we don't have the responsibility of our lives. If the decision doesn't work out, we can say, "You were wrong. Look at the mess you've gotten me into. I'm a victim again." Yes, you are, but you're a victim of yourself. We can listen to the advice and let others help us, but if they're helping us do something that is our responsibility, the ultimate responsibility for the decision still belongs to us. Get help when we need it, delegate tasks, but don't give away your power. Remember, you can think, you can feel, you can take care of yourself, you can figure out your problems. Don't get lazy. Don't give away responsibility for your life. God help me remember that I am responsible for me and me alone. So again, you have no control over somebody else. You only have control over yourself and your behavior and your bad behavior. Two wrongs don't make a right. And if you think that what I'm doing is wrong and then you mimic those exact things to inflict pain on another person, you can't sit there and complain about it because now you're doing it too. So you are now a hypocrite. See how that works? And and you threatened to sue me in real life. Well, then quit messing around. Quit lying. Quit trying to destroy somebody. Quit trying to destroy somebody's business. In this country, you can be sued and you can sue. And there is not a court in this country that can stop that from happening. So when you stop going real life and your people stop going real life, maybe you guys will not have to worry about raising money for lawsuits. Maybe when you realize that you're going overboard and you need to stop, maybe quit doing all these shenanigans behind the scenes that you're saying everybody else is doing, but you all are doing it yourselves. And then going on channels and saying, "Oh, we're not doing this." And you have to be exposed. Yet I throw stuff out here because I'm proud of it. And you're like, "Oh, we're exposing her." No, I put that out there. All you're doing is trashing it and complaining about it. You're not reviewing it. You're trying to say you are, but you're not. That's not the purpose of it. It's to destroy, humiliate, and cause harm to another person intentionally. So when you guys quit doing that, maybe you guys will quit being threatened to be sued. Because at the end of the day, I have a right to protect my interests. I have a right to protect my privacy. I have a right to keep my reputation. I have a right to make money. I have a right to move freely in the United States of America. I have a right to protest. I have a right to be me. And you don't have to like it. You don't have to support it. But you don't get to change it. You don't have that power over me. You never will. Never will. None of you will. And the sooner you guys can come to acceptance on that, the sooner we all can just start getting along here on the streets of YouTube. I'm not going anywhere. You don't have to support my shenanigans, but you don't get to club me over the head every single day for life because of 3 protests. That's your bad behavior. When you guys are breaking the law, when you stop breaking the law, maybe I should say it like that. When you all stop breaking the law, then you can worry about my business. But let's put your own house in order first. Okay? Let's get your problems taken care of first. Because it's pretty hypocritical, you guys having all this chaos going behind the scenes that's now being exposed publicly, but you still want to point about something that happened almost a year ago. It's falling on deaf ears. You guys look like a bunch of idiots. Childish idiots. Grow up. Grow up. You guys are becoming a dime a dozen. Nobody cares. You've lost your voice. Nobody's listening, but your band of your small group of 1,000 people now. That's it. That bounce from room to room to listen to your nonsense. That's what you've got. That's it. And it's the same people, and they have multiple accounts. That's what's driving your numbers up. Like, you guys aren't even that interesting. You have to manipulate your own numbers to make you look more popular than you are. We don't manipulate numbers over here. It is what it is because we don't care. Just saying. Just saying. So SF investigates as trash. He's a douchebag. He's a douchebag. And he exploited a family. And you guys are justifying his behavior. Okay. But go ahead and beat me up, right? Beat me up for raising money to go out and physically help search. But exploiting a family this day and age is okay for their side, as long as it's their side exploiting the family. But, God forbid us do anything good over here. No, I'm trying to keep you guys the fuck off my channel. You guys have all the freedom of speech in the world you want anywhere else. This is my channel, and I can run it the way I choose, and that's something you're going to have to accept. You guys have, nothing is stopping you from building your own channel and speaking your mind, is there? Nobody is preventing you from your freedom of speech. I just don't want your nonsense, your hate, and your garbage over here. And as a matter of fact, with that, now you're blocked because I've told you and warned you. You're disrupting my show. I don't have to engage with you. I owe you nothing. You do not own me. You do not control me. Get the fuck off my channel. If you don't like it, kiss my ass. You're a petty piece of shit that has to sit there and all day long on every single post. Nobody gives a shit. All it's doing is making you feel good. And if it makes you feel good to be that nasty to people, boy, you're more of a problem than me. So go fuck yourself. And then when you're done fucking yourself, go fuck yourself again. Have a good day. And if anybody has a problem with it, oh well. Somebody hide that animal. There you go. Now you're blocked. And again, and again, and again, and again. And if they still don't understand, here, let me say it for the ones in the back. If you think you're going to control me, think you're going to control what I do, you guys can talk about me all you want. I don't really give a rat's ass. It's becoming boring. 2 years later, it's boring shit. But hey, you know what? If you want that boring shit on your channel, who am I to say, right? Who am I to say? Keep rolling that beautiful bean footage. Doesn't bother me. You come after me, you come after my family, you come after my mods, you come after my people. You try to destroy my business, your ass will be in a court. Period. Take that to the bank. Oh, and by the way, attorney, you can clip that and take that to the judge too. Because again, I have every right to bring a valid, lawful, and legal claim to court, and I will each and every time because I sat back and kept to myself for 2 years. 2 years while you watch that crazy freaking toast chick try to destroy me, right? That started calming down, and now you have this other chick coming there wanting to actually cause me financial problems and take my channel. No, baby, you don't get to do that. No, you don't. And none of you guys get to. None of you guys get to. So all you're doing is being hateful because you want to be hateful. There's no good purpose for it. You're not doing anything. You haven't moved the needle. You're not moving the needle. All you've done is cause a little bit of financial problems. But you know what? At the end of this, that's going to be resolved because somebody has to pay for those damages. So I'm not really worried about it. You want to know why I'm so calm in the courtroom? Because I know the law's on my side. I'm very calm. If anybody saw me at the court, I'm calm. I do my own legal research. I've got over 100 hours in the legal research here. Like I outside of getting up that morning and typing out a few things, the points that I wanted to make before the judge, I didn't reread that. I wasn't burning the midnight oil to argue in court yesterday. So let's cut the crap off. This idea that I don't know what I'm doing, that I have no clue, that this is just frivolous, whatever. You guys can believe whatever you want. I don't care anymore. I don't care. We're talking about true crime. You want to be here for true crime? You're not. Mods, you guys wanted to ask me how you know which ones to delete. Anybody that's not here for true crime, delete. If they're here to discuss the case, they can stay. If they're here to point insults at anybody, and I mean anybody, if I want to do it, this is my channel. I will do what I damn well please. In this room, it's do as I say, not as I do. And I will own it. I will own it. But if I'm getting in trouble with anything, it's coming from me, right? If I'm going to take on a person, it's going to be me that takes them on. It's not going to be my audience. But why do we have to be, when did we have to start taking on people in true crime to discuss a true crime case? At what point did you think you had control over who I talk about on my channel? I'm curious. I'm curious. Can anybody tell me? Cat got your tongues? All your hating people in here that wants to come in here and what, the cat now has your tongue? That's what I thought. So sit down. If you don't like the commentary, why don't you do the grown-up thing and just leave? This pettiness, this bull crap that you guys want to do, this pissing contest you want to, and this chaos you guys want to bring in everybody's chat room, it's getting old. The audience is getting tired of it. The subscribers are getting tired of it. The moderators are getting tired of it. Pretty soon, we're going to start running financial campaigns on here, on this channel, to show you how tired they are. And then you guys can sit there and say, oh, she's tragedy, pimping, and grifting. I don't give a rat's ass. We will show this community we're tired of this nonsense. We've done it before. We'll do it again. We're tired. Which missing lady? Are you talking about Layla? If you're talking about Layla, it's because we found information out there searching that leans in that direction. That's why. You know, you got to get off your ass to, and I don't mean to be rude, but I'm tired of the nonsense going on here and the petty insults. And I don't think this is a legit question. This is a question that you want to poke at. And I'm getting tired of this nonsense. If you want to know why we're looking for a body, is because that's the way the information and the leads are leaning. Does it mean it's correct? No, that's why we're not coming out and saying it. We're still looking for her. And people are being nasty to her mother. And don't think her mother doesn't know all of this. That her daughter is most likely gone. So just knock the crap off. You guys are evil, hateful, spiteful, vindictive, and you don't care about anybody else, and especially a victim. So I don't ever want anybody coming over here and saying what I'm doing is horrible. What you and your people have done has been despicable and disgusting, and it was displayed for everybody to see. It's gross. And then turn around and justify that actions. You guys should have been running for the hills and unsubbing, but no, you doubled down. Kiss my ass. I'm over it. Yeah. And you wonder what's wrong with our children in this country today because you see how their parents are acting. So anyways, getting back to Layla Santinello, and then we'll move on to, we got a few other cases we need to cover here just to update and get people on. But here is, I think it's this one. Ah, shoot. I just hit the wrong button. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. There it goes. And I have to give it to Jennifer with all this stuff going on. She's, you know, she really has tried to very, very hard. Oh, where is that? This is not it either. Hold on a second. Give me just a second. the hell? Share? There. All right, there it is. So we'll put this over here. This is what I was talking about. The drama and the chaos. It's like, you know, he could, I apparently I'm having some type of, hold on guys, my internet just started getting wonky. Naturally. Just a second. I don't know what's going on here. It's probably my equipment. I don't know. We've been doing just fine so far. And then I look up and my internet is totally down. And I think it's got to be that the equipment must be draining my bandwidth, and I don't know why. Okay, so what is this? It doesn't matter. Again, my channel. If I choose to do it, it's my choice. You don't get to dictate it to me. If I want to come in here and bash every single person on this channel, I can do that. I mean, I think I've earned it after 2 years of your nonsense, don't you think? Your evil, your bad behavior, my opinions only. Do you want to talk about your behavior? Why don't you come up on my panel and let's have a discussion about you and your behavior? Because I've got like 1,000 different clips of your comments. And I would be completely ashamed of myself with some of the stuff you say. Ashamed. You should be ashamed of yourself. You should be ashamed of yourself. Give me just a second. Okay, so we're back up. So let me go ahead and pull this. It looks like my internet just fixed itself. So here is what I'm talking about. This is the nonsense. This is the unprofessional nonsense that goes on with these internet PIs that need attention. When you're out looking for a person, you're trying to look under the radar. You're not wanting to be really bold. And that's why sometimes when we go into these communities, we don't tell you we're going. We go and do our thing before we ever go live. It's because we get in this community. You want to be under the radar. You want to be able to talk to people. You don't want to bring a whole lot of attention to yourself, to your face, to whatever, because people will be expecting you. There's a potential for people not being so forthcoming. So there's certain things that you need to do. Okay. Now, I'm not a PI. I just investigate these cases on a journalistic aspect of it and bring them to all of you guys. Occasionally, I review these cases on a activist and advocate side. So it really depends on what is needed in the case. This is not needed in the case. This drama, this hocus pocus nonsense is not needed. We talked about Jen Santinello and how she was really upset with some of her private messages being plastered all over social media. I think that is dangerous. I think that's something that could really jeopardize somebody's business and their license. But they chose to do it. And she still chose to work with them even after that, because they kept saying to George and Brittany how explosive information they have uncovered in the Layla Santinello case. And it was a way so that he could exploit this family, dangling the carrot in front of him. I got information you want. You need to hire me. We need to get you out. We need to raise money in that GoFundMe so you can pay me to go out because I got all this information. So Jen Santinello says, fine. You know what? Here's my PI. You guys work together. George's PI works with her PI. The very next day, this is what you get. Where's all that information, Steve? That explosive, massive information that you had to help break information into the Layla Santinello case. Did you just forget it? Or what? Somebody called your bluff and now it's point the finger and, oh, I can't do this because of this random person. That's what he did. A random person. I have left the Layla Santinello case. Oh, here, hold on. Let me try that again. Where's my clapping? Where's my clapping? Applause. SF has left the Layla Santinello case. Oh, I don't think we heard it loud enough. Hold on. Let me say it louder. SF Investigates has left the Layla Santinello case. Yep. So he left the case. So there is no conflict of interest as I began exposing Jennifer Santinello, a PI that's hired to look for a missing girl. Now has some. Doesn't this sound so Jim Terry? Doesn't this sound so similar to Dylan Rounds and the shenanigans Jim Terry did? The unlicensed PI? Remember him? This sounds a lot like that. Garbage PIs are on social media. Let me repeat that. Garbage PIs are searching for victims of families of missing people and dead people. Okay? And then when they don't get what they want, they expose the family. Give me a break. No conflict of interest as I begin exposing Jennifer Santinello. So now he's not wanting to work at all on Layla's case. Now he wants to switch gears and only expose Jennifer Santinello, the mother of a missing 20-year-old girl that has 4 children at home. 4 children. And he wants to expose the mother of a missing girl because she didn't hire him. Let that make sense. Let that sink in. My opinions only. What's your opinion of that? Let's see how you, my friend, are going to justify his behavior. Are we going to have 15 videos on him and his disgusting and exploitive behavior? Or is that just reserved for Bullhorn Betty? Everybody else can do it, but good God, let you guys say I do it, whether I do it or not, doesn't really, not any consequence, right? But I guess it's okay for everybody else to exploit victims and victims' families. Where's the outrage from your side? My opinions only. I mean, you have so many opinions to have. Love to hear what you have to say about it. I mean, seems a little, seems like something you would have a lot to say about. But let me guess, it's going to be swept under the rug, right? The shenanigans going on now never gets looked at, right? But we're still going to make sure that everybody knows that I was out in front of Quentin Simon's house protesting for his mother to be arrested for killing him. We're gonna keep that in the spotlight. But your people exploiting a family and now changing from looking for a missing person to exploiting her mother that's searching for her. Where's your opinion on that? My opinions only. You did the cat get your tongue? My opinions only. We're waiting for your opinion. Where are you, my love? Where are you? Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Here, kitty, 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 kitty. Oh, okay. So as long as they're exploiting, as long as you approve their exploitation of families, it's okay. Got it. Yeah, don't worry. I mean, it had more power to the punch when people didn't know us, but now we have 2 years of our work. They don't. You know what they have? They have 2 years of complaining about our work and getting nothing accomplished, right? We've been in movies. We've been in documentaries. We've been on the news. We've given, all of us, Olivia, Jonathan, myself, all of us have given, I want to say over the last 2 years, 50, 60 interviews from around the world, maybe more. That's, you can't fake that. You can't fake that. So at the beginning, they could do this to us, but now it's kind of like we've got our own playing field. We've got our own unit of people that it's falling on deaf ears, and it's starting to look really desperate because here we're about to go on the 3rd year. And they're still stuck on Bullhorn Betty. Like we've covered, how many cases have we covered up to now? 100 now, at least? So we've covered like, let's, on a good side, let's say 50. Let's say 50, just to be conservative, because I wouldn't want them to say, she's lying. They're going to say it anyways, right? So we'll say conservatively, we've covered 50 cases, right? Covered 50 cases. We went out to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 cases we physically went out to. That sounds about right, right? Like 15 cases we physically went out to. So you're talking about in 2 years, we've covered all these cases. We've traveled this entire country from one side of this country to the other side of the country. We've accomplished a lot. This channel has. They're still stuck in the past. They're still on Bullhorn Betty. They're still on Bullhorn Betty 1997. I'm not lying. This is not even Bullhorn Betty 2023. This is Bullhorn Betty 1997. Like, come on. I just think it's funny. All they've got is my past, but we can be talking about all of their bad behavior right here, right now, and they try to justify it. And you see, my opinion's got nothing to say about SF Investigates. Wants to come over here and disturb this chat up about how their opinion matters, and we give them the floor about their opinion, and they clam up like a you know. You can't fix stupid on here, guys, and you can't argue with it. You got to let them hit the wall 1,000 times. Maybe some of the brain damage they get from hitting the wall actually might knock some, brain cells loose. Who knows? I really just don't know. I don't care. I don't care. What I care about is people like this Steve with SF Investigates, guys. This is awful. Come on, be honest. You guys know this is horse shit. This is totally unprofessional. Even the hate channels can't say that this looks good for them. This is their guy. This is their guy. He's got it in with all the hate channels on YouTube, all the trash on YouTube. He's in with them. And this is his behavior to a family that lost a freaking girl. This is so Jim Terry. It's disgusting. So let's read it. I left the Layla Santa, and let me put it in the prissy little bitch voice, right? I left the Layla Santanello case because he has no penis. I left the Layla Santanello case so there's no conflict of interest as I begin exposing Jennifer Santanello. What are you going to find out? Let me ask you, Steve, what do you think you're going to fucking find out about Jennifer Santanello? I'm curious because, this is a mother of a missing child. Her child wasn't the easiest person in the world. She had a lot of problems and stuff and got into the wrong crowd. So what are you going to fucking expose? The fact that she had a child on drugs? Oh, so you're going to kick a horse when it's down, right? So professional, so ethical. He exploited the family, Kay. You know it. We've been arguing. You and I have been arguing about this for frickin' weeks. Give me a break. Cut it out. He exploited this family. Jennifer is telling you what he has said. How he was going to do this pro bono. He flipped the switch. And then he started taking, because she wasn't down like that, he started taking George and Brittany and peppering them all over, exploiting them so he could have financial gain. It wasn't to help Brittany and George. It was to financially help SF Investigate. And I'm so tired. I just want you, Kay. I really just want you to acknowledge it and say it's not okay. I just want people to stop justifying their behavior. Just tell the fucking truth. It's just irritating. It really is. And it's so disruptive. And like today, I had a whole plan of this. We haven't even gotten past Layla Santanello. We're going to be here for a while today. I like Kay's name too, but she's been nasty to me. And not just nasty here. She's been nasty to me on multiple platforms. So it's like, in all fairness, this is a respectful response. Okay, so thank you for that. You know, I appreciate that. We don't have to get along with it, but, you know, I appreciate you not being an asshole. How about that? So you're right. He was hired. Okay? He was hired. He was hired under the pretenses he was going to do this pro bono. A family hard on their luck is going to look for the person that's providing them free services. He offered free services. They weren't free. And then he dangled a carrot in front of this family saying he had this massive information about the Layla case. And Jen brings him in, and this is the thanks that she gets because he didn't do a damn thing. It was all smoke and mirrors, which is what I've been trying to tell you guys from the very beginning. And you decided to attack me for telling the truth yet again. I'm so sick of it. Oh, if you guys would just stop for 5 minutes and realize, one, everybody says I'm lying, but nobody can prove I'm lying. Isn't that funny? They keep bringing up Steph and saying, oh, yeah, she's lying. She's lying about this. Oh, she said Massachusetts instead of Maryland. She's a liar. That kind of that has no consequence to the case. But you guys take it and make a mountain out of a molehill. And then you got this man exploiting this family, and you guys are arguing with me when I'm trying to tell you guys. Like, dude, it's just irritating and frustrating. It's irritating and frustrating. And you wonder why I got to stick up my ass half the time I come here. It's because of this nonsense. I'm truly trying to help these families, and you guys keep thinking I'm trying to do it for myself. I've done nothing for myself. Nothing. I know you think I have. I've done nothing. Every penny I have ever made has gone back into these cases. Every penny. I've made nothing. I had to sell a truck. I made nothing. I have made nothing. I barely keep my bills paid. Do you not understand that? This man is out there exploiting these families for profit. And I'm sick and tired of being told I'm doing that when I'm spending literally every fucking penny I have for these families in these cases. And then when I tell you guys this man's exploiting them, you want to attack me, and I'm tired of it. I'm truly tired of it. Kay, how would you feel if you were trying to tell somebody something, you were trying to scream it from the rooftops, and everybody came and pounced on you? Now this is proof in the pudding. You guys got no room to move, and you still come over here and say antagonistic shit. I don't get it. I really don't. I do need a spa day. Taking donations. I do need a spa day. How did you know? But all the drama. And you know what? This whole thing, like this whole hour and 8 minutes, guess what? Would never even have existed if nobody used one of these internet PIs. Just saying. Just saying. I will always tell, and this is the drumbeat I want you guys to tell everybody across these things. You know, I want people to get out there and spread the message in these chat rooms and every place. Do not use these internet PIs. They're garbage and they're junk. They have no ethics. They have no professionalism. This is unprofessional. I think we can all agree. Unnecessary drama in a case already filled with it. Poor Steve. Poor Steve. And Steve, kiss my white ass. You're a piece of shit. You will always be a piece of shit. And you haven't helped anybody. And you damn sure haven't found 14 people. I looked into that, and I know for a fact, 100% fact, that man has not even found even half of those people. But hey, call me a liar. Whatever. All right. Damn it, I did it again. I hit stop sharing. Let me put this back up again. We're moving on. I'm glad we had an opportunity to take the time to address that matter. I know it you know, I wasn't going to address it. And you can ask anybody that's working with me behind the scenes, like Sonia. I say, you know, We just need to keep it focused on Layla. We don't need to be engaging in the noise. But you know what? Thank you, Regina. I love you guys. I love you guys. The custar is kind of starting to get something. It does have money in it. It does have money in it. So I will make sure I add your donations to the cuss jar. I'm sorry. I know we don't like cussing very much, but this case has really got under my skin. Actually, I think it's just the whole situation. You know, all this stuff with the court, all this stuff with Layla and Layla's mom. It's like, it's so unnecessary. It's breaking my heart. This woman should not be having to address this stuff here, you know, and I'm sorry. And I don't think she should have to. And so I will. I think it's shitty. I think you're shit. SF investigates. And I hope everybody is taking notice that this nonsense is Jim Terry. That's the shit Jim Terry would do. And Steve just stooped to his level. Yeah, you're not getting any kind of accolades here on the streets of YouTube. And believe me, from this point forward, Steve, if I find out you're involved in any case, I'm sending all of this to them. Sue me, 5822 2nd Street West, Braden, Florida, 34209 or 34207. Andra, Andra, Griffin, Griffin. I will be happy to accept your cease and desist and or your lawsuit. How about that? And if I find out that you are spreading any more private information, you or Chloe, I will take that and I will send that to California. You can't do that, Stephen. You know it. Don't make me put your balls in a sling. I will do it. And I will squeeze them hard. All right. So this is really, it's kind of a good case, kind of a bad case. It's one of those cases that it's like, duh, we knew it was him, but it's not like that. It's got some twists. It's got some turns to it. But this is a case that happened, I believe, back in 2015. It's Crystal Roger. She is a mother. She has multiple children. And many people believed it was her boyfriend at the time that did it, which is Brooks. Okay. But it's not just him. I also learned that there was somebody in early September that was arrested in connection with this case. So this sounds like a man that, you know, got help, elicited help to carry out this act. So he is in jail. Thank God they found enough evidence that would get him where he needs to be. He has been charged with her. Now, he was charged with some minor crimes early on. He was able to bond out and live his life for the last few years. Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, and that was it. And you know what? It's like, and I try to tell people, like, I deal with reputable PIs all the time. Reputable PIs all the time. And I can tell you, one of the things they tell me is they like working in the dark. They have to, you know, they're not, nobody does anything. The only people that want to be in it, get the attention, are the people that want the attention. Okay. PIs don't typically want attention because they're under the radar type of people. So if you have a PI that's not under the radar, you need to ask yourself why. Think about it. How many PIs do we see across the internet? And think about it. Serious. It's a serious question. How many PIs? Occasionally we will see one in a documentary, like Jason Jensen, right? He was the one that did a pro bono job, like a legit pro bono job, like Sean Paul Schulte didn't have to pay for his traveling expenses. He actually paid for those out of his own pocket. We actually helped try to raise funds for Jason Jensen because of his graciousness in that case. But these people don't like working. They don't want the attention because they work in the dark. You understand what I'm saying? So you got to ask yourself, why are certain PIs here preying on missing person chat rooms and stuff like that and having to say things like pro bono when you know your working is not pro bono. You're not doing this from your heart. You're wanting to be compensated. Somehow, some way, you want compensation. That's not what he's saying. So anyways, I digress. I'm not, the Layla Santinello, this is it. This is all I'm going to say. I'm glad he's out of the case. He caused nothing but drama, chaos, and bullshit. So it's not like anybody over here is crying. We're not. I expected this. This is exactly why I told Jen to stay away from these yahoos. But at the end of the day, you know, all that stuff that happened on Twitter, I've been vindicated for. You guys see his true heart. You guys see him for who he is now. So enough's enough. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It's in black and white now, right? But we're not going to address it anymore. I don't want to make this Layla case about SF Investigates. He's not worth the time. He's not worth the energy, and he's damn sure not worth the plug. This is as much as he's going to get on the Bullhorn Betty channel. We're going to keep this case about Layla and only about Layla, about her family, about information that can lead to her whereabouts. I don't want to be in the drama. I don't want to be in the pissing contest. That's not what I'm here for. I could care less who freaking finds this girl. All I know is her mom wants her home. Her mom wants her home. So what do? We help. That's what we do. We do whatever it takes. And that's what we're going to continue to do. Without compensation from the family. We'll raise our own money. If we need money, we'll raise our own money. We don't need to exploit a family to do it. Brooks Houck. Now, he was arrested. And again, like I said, there's a lot that's kind of going on with this particular case. This matter happened back in 2015. So, you know, the family's been waiting for a little while. The family is waiting for a little while. Or had to wait a little while for justice, but it looks like justice is coming. Some things must have just started linking recently because two people are now, this is the second arrest, and this is her boyfriend at the time, or her ex-boyfriend at the time. It was an on-again, off-again type of relationship. An arrest has been made in connection with the 2015 disappearance of Bradstown mother of 5. Brooks Houck was arrested Wednesday morning and is facing charges stemming from Crystal Rogers' investigation. According to the FBI and FBI Louisville news release, he was charged with murder and tampering with physical evidence, according to the court documents. This judge gave him a whopping $10 million cash bond. And he's ordered not to have any contact with the Rogers family. Houck was Rogers' boyfriend at the time of her disappearance and has been considered the main suspect in her case from the beginning. His property has been searched multiple times. He also made headlines last year when he was arrested for what turned out to be several traffic violations. He was ordered to pay a series of fines and was soon released. Now, 8 years later, and 8 years after Rogers' disappearance, he's in custody and charged, and his charges are related to that investigation. And this is Brooks right here. This is the boyfriend, on-again, off-again boyfriend of Crystal. And again, he was believed to have been 8 years ago responsible for this, before her disappearance. Authorities said Houck and Dynick remain sealed and additional charges will be revealed during his arraignment on October 5th. This is coming out of Kentucky, guys. So I was actually thinking, you know, it's September 28th, and I'm going to research this case a little more. I don't know. You know, I'm kind of getting a little itchy to get out of this chair. I may take the drive to Kentucky just to sit in on this. I'm not sure yet. Don't hold my feet to the fire. Okay. I have not made any kind of arrangements or anything. It's really at the preliminary phase right at the moment. That's it. Hello, beautiful BHB. Well, hello, Wolf. How are you doing? Did you guys see my boyfriend is back? My serenade boyfriend, my one night stand, I heard came back for an evening. I don't know who the serenade was, but it was sent to me. They're like, oh, he's back. I thought he took his channel. I didn't know. Anyways, so this is in Nelson County, but again, it's going to be on October 5th. And here's kind of a little more information about Crystal Rogers. So Crystal Rogers disappeared from Brownstown, Kentucky 8 years ago. Despite numerous search warrants and interviews over the years, there has been little to shed light on the case. August 2020, the FBI took over the case. Remember, I told you that I really believe that in the Summer Wells case, we need to get this out of Hawkins County and in TBI. Well, this is kind of what happened with this case, except it didn't go to the state. It went to the feds. And the feds took this case on in 2020. By 2023, we have people arrested. This is why I'm saying we need to move this. If we want answers in Summer Wells case, we have to. And I'm telling this with all, it's Bardstown. Okay, thank you for that. My hooked on phonics was broken that day. Thank you, Bardstown. Thank you so much. So, anyways, so she went missing, but the case was taken over by the FBI in 2020, and the only reason why I'm pointing this out is because I really think TBI needs to be taking over the Summer Wells case. So if people are still beating the drum of Summer Wells, we've put forward everything that I can possibly put forward in my position on the case. I think at this point, continuing to speak about the same things over and over again, we may do some refresher stuff just to bring people up to speed, but I'm not going to dive into the Summer Wells case. My mind is made up. I did the work. I know, I feel like I know what happened. And I know who's responsible. So short of new information coming forward, that's the only thing that's going to change my mind in my opinion of the case. But I do believe it needs to get into TBI's hands and out of Hawkins County's. I digress. On August 2023, Nelson County man Joseph Lawson was arrested in connection with Crystal Rogers' disappearance. So this is his friend. He was indicted and charged with conspiracy to commit murder and tampering with evidence. News of his arrest was released on September 7th. So again, after FBI gets it, they run their investigations. It appears that it's a 2-year investigation. So they're getting everything buttoned up, and now right into the third year, right at the third year, because they took over August 2020. In August 2023, they started making arrests. So literally 3 years, almost to the date that the FBI took this case over. In 8 years, they start making headway and start throwing people in jail. Soon after the first arrest, investigator journalist Shay McAllister released the story on the possible links between Joseph Lawson and Brooks Houck. I do have that pulled up. We are going to watch that. Authorities arrested Houck without incident early Wednesday morning, and since has been booked into multiple jails. That is an interesting statement. He's been booked into multiple jails. So it sounds like he's got some other counties or city or municipality jails that he was for whatever is in their jurisdiction, but it said multiple jails. Is the woman's whose car was found on the interstate? Is this the woman's that the car was found on the interstate? Honestly, I didn't cover it, Kay, back then in that time frame. I really didn't. But I'm sure we're going to read through it. So I'm pretty sure if that's the case, it will come to light here in just a second. I'm going to go ahead and play this video of his arrest, but we will make sure that we will look into that before we leave and get that. But there was something here, but I don't know if this is the one where she was at the car. It could very well be. It could very well be. Let me just pull this up and maybe we'll go ahead and watch this right now. Put it on the big screen. Hold on a second. So this is him. There's no sound to it, but this is him being arrested right here without incident. That is Brooks Houck. Casually walking in, not resisting, nothing of the sorts. Do they have him going in? Oh, and it looks like they're dressing him out. It looks like he might be coming out. There he is. So they went in there and they dressed him out. And now he's going over to the jail. So that's all I really wanted to show you on that. And then getting down here, by word of mouth and social media, just about the entire community had heard the news. Just thrilled. Thank goodness. Lifelong Bardstown resident Donna Blinko said, finally some justice. Get him locked up. Lock him up, right? Lock him up. That's what we believe in. He's being held in Hardin County. That's what they said. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. If you guys are just tuning in, thanks for tuning in. We're talking about a little bit of a different case before we get over to the Bryan Kohberger. This is the Crystal Rogers case, and it's from Bardstown, Kentucky. They finally made an arrest in the case, and people are just elated and thrilled about it. Here's another.
Bardstown, known for its beauty, bourbon, and tourism, became known for the sinister, the unsolved murder mysteries. Today, Isaiah Kim Martinez has been talking with people in Bardstown who lived in fear, knowing that a killer was walking free. Isaiah is in downtown Bardstown right now with more on how they're reacting to today's arrest. Isaiah?
Doug, it's interesting you mentioned that word sinister. It's one of the words used today specifically to describe Brooks Houck. And as you know, all that so many here in this small town have wanted since 2015 is justice for Crystal Rogers, her mother, Sherry Ballard, and the entire family. And tonight, there's hope this latest arrest will be the tipping point for the answers needed to solve those other tragic cases here, too. By word of mouth.
Well, the telephone has been ringing all over town this morning.
And through social media.
I got a text from some people in town.
The news has resonated with the Bardstown community.
That Brooks Houck has been arrested.
I had some very colorful language, just, oh my goodness.
Thrilled. Thank goodness, finally some justice.
And you got to think that these people, you know, when you hear something like somebody disappearing in your community, like for me, it was Stephanie Shenefield. She was a bartender that has served me in the past. And when we found out that something happened to her, naturally, the community is affected as well. You know, these people are also living in fear, you know, wondering, is this person's killer coming into my store? Are they, you know, am I walking past a murderer on the street? So, you know, over time, I think normalcy kind of comes back, but it still plagues the back of many people's minds. What happened to Crystal Rogers? And so, like I said, you know, this community is elated with this new revelation that somebody, and this is where the crazy thing comes in for me, because this is the second arrest. Like, I'm pretty sure this is the guy, you know, but that other guy, the other guy that's there, that's arrested, that was arrested early September, you know, obviously he had the opportunity, you know, he obviously was some way involved in this whole crime. So this is a friend that may have helped him, but we're going to get on to the connection between the two people that are arrested in this murder. I will, again, free list rescuerman, or should I say blank screen? I'm allowed to bash whoever I want on my channel. You have your own channel and you bash me on it. My people aren't over there bashing you for it. So just stay off my, you know, grow up, put your big girl panties on, and just knock it off. I can do whatever I want on my channel. If you don't like it, don't be here. And that's going to be the drumbeat moving forward. If you'd like to communicate, and I'm not going to block you. I almost want to, but I'm not going to. If you want to come in here and communicate and talk about these cases, you're more than welcome to. The insults and everything, those got to go away. I'm not insulting you. Whoever else I insult, until I come after you, it's none of your concern. SF Investigates is a big boy and he can handle himself. He got himself into this mess. He can certainly get himself out of this mess. He doesn't need people taking up for him. He's a big boy, just like you, right? So why don't you knock it off? If you want to participate and talk about these cases, please do. If not, then move on. You've got your own set of channels that you can go bash people and complain about, and gossip, and do other unholy things over there. Do your dope, whatever your poison is. I don't care. I really don't. But if you would like to talk here, I'm not going to block you, but just be respectful. That's all that's asked of you. If you can do that, we're good. Strike Force, nice to see you.
Get him locked up.
Brooks Houck, charged with complicity to murder and tampering with physical evidence, now sits in Hardin County detention after being transferred from Nelson County.
Everybody was just left in this gray area, and that gray area has color now that Brooks Houck is behind bars.
Katie Marks has lived in Bardstown the majority of her life and has watched this case closely for years. Her relief is that Houck is no longer driving.
Everybody in this town knows what his truck looks like.
And walking amongst this town.
To being that close to evil was just a very sinister feeling.
Now, is he guilty? Is he not? That'll have to be taken out in court.
Through the eyes of former Bardstown mayor and Nelson County historian Dixie Hibbs, there's perspective.
It's almost like a branch hanging in a tree, and it's going to fall because it's broken. It's going to fall, but we don't know when. The high wind.
I really don't know about you guys, but I think she should get like the Adorable Mayor Award. And she is so precious. And she just talks so sweet. Like, she's just a sweet mayor. Like, she's got my vote, right? She's got my vote. But I think she should get the Darling Mayor Award. I really do. She is so cute.
Wind's coming. The high wind is coming, and now may be the time
She's so
that
sweet.
the wind blows that broken branch down.
A woman who's witnessed this quaint town in agony the last 8 years. The hope was their efforts, the searches, and the signs led to answers and an arrest. Now,
so I'm not going to really go through that very much. Hopefully, you guys, I have to turn this down because my air conditioning, it's giving me feedback. But hopefully we're going to get a little bit more information about this. Now, this is kind of the arrest made in the Crystal Rogers case. This is, I think this will give you guys a little bit more information.
In the Crystal Rogers case after 8 long years for the family and people of Bardstown. It's our top story right now at noon. A Nelson County man was arrested in connection to the Crystal Rogers disappearance. 32-year-old Joseph Lawson, that's him right there on your screen.
Now, this is the first guy. This is the first guy that I was talking about that was arrested. He was first. He was the one that was arrested for the conspiracy and the tampering with physical evidence. So I just wanted to clarify that. This is not the boyfriend. This is not the boyfriend.
Green, he's facing multiple charges. This is the first arrest and charges that we've seen in any of the 5 unsolved Bardstown cases. His charges are specific.
Oh, it sounds like they have multiple unsolved cases in Bardstown. I think I'm saying it right. Am I saying it right? Hopefully I'm saying it right.
Tying him to Crystal Rogers' case. Now, Crystal disappeared over 4th of July weekend back in 2015. Her father, Tommy Ballard, later found her car along the Bluegrass Parkway. Inside, he found her keys, cell phone, and purse.
So there you have it, guys. Unknown caller, let me turn this off. We don't have the phones open yet. The phones will be open later. You're more than welcome to call. It's part of this, but we got a long ways to go. It's probably going to be about a 4-hour live today. So saddle up, folks, saddle up. But now you know, okay, so Kay, this is the car that was found on the side of the road. So if this was the missing woman from the car missing on the side of the road, it sounds like this is that case that you were just asking about that happened on the July 4th weekend in 2015. July 4th weekend, 2015.
Rogers had been presumed dead since October of 2015. And since then, Rogers' family, multiple law enforcement agencies, and many with.
Did you guys hear that? She was presumed dead since October 2015. So that means that this was a homicide investigation in 2015. Why am I pointing that out to you guys? It's because it's doubling back to the Summer Wells case. Again, she has not been classified as deceased. And I think that that is the majority of the problem as to why no arrest can be made, because if somebody is not dead, there's no crime that was committed. Therefore, there is no charge that can be levied upon, say, Don or Candace Wells. So again, they have to be designated as deceased before the case can move forward. And that is the problem in the Summer Wells case. And again, I think if we move the Summer Wells case from Hawkins County to TBI, if we can get a campaign and work at that angle, I think once it's in TBI's hand, once they classify Summer Wells as deceased, she hasn't been heard of, seen, or spotted in years. There's no leads coming in. This is a cold case. Summer Wells is a cold case. It's a cold case. So they're not making any progress on it. What would it hurt to have TBI look at it and run the case? She's a young girl. We could even force the FBI to take care of this case as well. But I think the easiest point at this moment is to move the needle. I think the most meaningful movement of that needle is getting this case out of Hawkins County and into TBI's hand to run the investigation and to run the investigation properly. That's what I would hope, in all fairness.
Within the Nelson County community have worked endlessly to find answers. Now, what are those people working endlessly to find answers? Shay McAllister, you're joining us now live, of course, right here in the studio to help us break down this new development.
Yeah, so I think first let's get right to the charges so we know exactly what we're dealing with here. So the first charge is conspiracy to commit murder. This is in connection to an incident on 4th of July weekend, 2015. Important to note that is the very weekend that Crystal Rogers was reported missing, the last time anyone saw her alive. Some of the details we learned in the court documents, which we just got from the Nelson County Courthouse this morning, is Lawson's accused of agreeing to aid in the planning or commission of a crime intentionally causing the death of another person. He has pleaded not guilty to that one. The second
I can tell you by just his appearance, and I'm sorry, and people can beat me up for it. You know what? I'm allowed to do this. I've earned this experience to say this. This man is a drug addict. This is not even alcoholism. This is drugs. He's on drugs. That may be why he was easily brought into this situation. He was probably, but I can tell you just by looking at this man, he has a substance abuse problem. And again, I can make that statement because I have that experience. And I can look at somebody. I know my own kind. That's all I got to say.
With physical evidence. Again, it's in connection to an incident on 4th of July weekend, which is the big weekend in this case for when she was reported missing. This one breaks down to mean that he is accused of destroying, mutilating, concealing, or removing or altering physical.
Now, I want you guys to pay close attention to those words that are being used. It's a little gut-wrenching to hear, but I want you guys to read those again. Destroyed, mutilated, concealed, removed, or altered physical evidence. I think the first two words might describe
physical evidence in the case. We have no idea what that evidence could be. The details of these indictments are sealed. So really, we just know the details of the charges.
Have a great day, Mama Llama.
Here's what we know about the timeline. So this indictment was filed in June of 2023. That is actually when the grand jury came back with the indictment earlier this summer. The arrest warrant was signed and executed in August, and he was just now arraigned in court yesterday. And when we say
he was arraigned, so he was actually the end of August. He had the arrest warrant for him. He was arraigned in September, so he is in jail. And then again, I have a funny feeling he's singing like a bird, and this is probably what helped get Brooks behind bars. He looks like somebody that's going to make a situation better for himself. Again, I believe that substances are involved in this, and people that are on substances, when they're diluted, they can do just about anything. When they come to reality, it really does hurt them a lot. And so I can imagine that this guy is making a deal for himself. Just my opinion. I don't know whether it's true or not. I just want to be clear on that.
In court, we mean it loosely because he was actually in a hospital bed. Take a look.
Like the formal reading of the indictment has been effected. The court's going to enter pleas of not guilty in both cases. The court is going to proceed.
We already told you that he has pleaded not guilty in both of these cases. You see him right there in the hospital bed. The only time I heard him talk while listening to this video from yesterday is when he was asked his birthday to confirm his identity, and he said, "Yes, sir, that's my birthday. That's it." Haley, they set another court date for the end of October.
Okay, so obviously there's still a ton of questions, a lot of answers you're still working on getting. But first of all, we've never heard this guy's name before in connection to this case. Do we
And that was the other issue, is that nobody knew where this guy came from.
know what that connection could be right now?
Well, as you can imagine, Nelson County, small community, rumor mill is flying. Everybody thinks they know the connection here.
Sure.
And we just have not confirmed it just yet. Lawson, his last name, is a name that we have heard in this case before. It was a name that was brought up during an interrogation with Brooks Houck back many, many years ago. Again, we're not connecting the two. We haven't been able to do that just yet. So we don't know how he may or may not know them. I did ask the Ballard family, Crystal's family, have they ever heard this name? They said no.
Yeah, and obviously this is a big case now. It's become a national case, a federal case. Did you talk to the FBI? Are they expecting to do any more searches or any more arrests to be made, today or immediate future?
Well, I know today FBI and quite frankly all law enforcement agencies.
All right. I am going to say this one last time. You're more than welcome to be here. You have your own channels to bash me on. Go to them. If you would like to have conversations about this case and be an adult, you're more than welcome to be here. If there's any more outbursts, you will be blocked. I just unblocked you this morning to give you an opportunity to be an adult. So if you'd like to be an adult, you're more than welcome to communicate here. Leave the insults for your channels and your hate channels. We don't want them over here, nor are they welcomed. So please just follow the rules. Do the right thing. That's all that I'm asking of you.
Agencies connected are saying incredibly tight-lipped. Nobody would answer my questions. Hardly anyone would even take my calls.
Right.
I'm not sure they were actually ready for all of this information to come out when it did. So I know they're still working. One source very close to the case says they think this is just the beginning. They think there could be more arrests to come.
All right, Shay, thanks so much.
So they actually believe that there's more people involved in this. That's interesting information. We do have a strange guy that first arrest. Nobody knew who that guy was. Nobody knew who that guy was. And then now we have Brooks behind bars, and there is possibly potential for other arrests. This was taken early on, this news clip, so maybe the other arrests were actually Brooks she was referring to. But let's keep listening. Possible, perhaps.
So much. Of course, you want to make sure you stay up to date on WHS11.com and on all Shay's social media pages. You've done an amazing job covering this case. So we know you'll have the latest as we get that information. Let's go ahead and take a closer look now at the timeline of the Crystal Rogers disappearance. The sheriff's office initially handled Crystal's case beginning on July 3rd of 2015 when Crystal was last seen alive. Her boyfriend, Brooks Houck, told police they fed cows at his family's farm, then went home together. He says the next morning she was gone. After months of searching, on October 16th of 2015, Ed Mattingly, who was the sheriff at the time, announced Crystal was presumed dead and declared Brooks as the main suspect. 18 months later, on November 19th of 2016, Crystal's father, Tommy, was out hunting when someone shot and killed him.
Oh my
case is
God.
being investigated by Kentucky State Police. We're going to have more on Tommy's case in just a minute, but there would be no new developments until the FBI took over Crystal's case in August of 2020. They searched several properties, including the home of Brooks's brother, former Bardstown police officer Nick Houck, and Houck Family Farm, where Crystal was last seen. Through all of this, Crystal Rogers' mother, Sherry Ballard, has been fighting for answers, at times through frustration, other times through tears.
It's just getting to be a lot on everyone, and I see the emotions it has on my daughter's kids.
I feel like she was just here yesterday, but at the same time, I feel like I haven't seen her in a long time.
That's so
I
sad.
just feel like a big hole has been left in my heart where she should be.
All right, guys. Well, that was it. Trying to put a pause to it. It ain't working for me. So there you have it. So again, there is this, the original person that was arrested, obviously not, my mouse just stopped working on me. The Bluetooth stopped working. That's okay. So it just basically says that he went to, that they had arrested him. Again, this Joseph Lawson, he's 32 years old, and you can tell that he's had a rough lifestyle. And now, if you don't know this man's having a rough lifestyle, his eyes, his sunken in cheeks, those are all telltale signs that he's on substances. Okay. And this goes beyond your alcohol, in my opinion, just on his physical appearance alone. It is sad that I just found out that her father was also shot and killed a year later. I can't. I just can't. I can't even imagine her mother and how that has affected her. I can't. That has to be some of the most agonizing pain you can imagine. Okay, hold on a second. Are you guys what messages? My mod squad? Hold on. Okay. Aw, Katrina, thank you for my spa day. Oh, sassy. 5 Bullhorn Betty memberships. And what does this say? Oh my gosh, Regina, you're Crystal's family member? Is that right? Why is this not working? I hate when my mouse just stops working. It drives me nuts. Regina, do you want to come up here? Do you have any information that you would like to provide on the case? He never even helped look for her. Wow. I just find that ironic because I didn't know. Oh, wow. I didn't know that you were a family member. You've been a member of our channel for quite some time. So let me get this mouse to work. Probably not. Stupid mouse. Here is, hold on a second. This is just for Regina. If you'd like to come up here and give us some information about your family member's case, please do so. Again, this is we see, we're covering it. Like I said, I had no idea, no earthly idea that this was your family member. I'm going to go ahead and play this. If you pop up in the background and you want to chat about it, you're more than welcome.
Top story this morning. After 3 years since the FBI took over, there's been a breakthrough in the Crystal Rogers case.
Yeah, we've been told a Nelson County man has been arrested in the case and handed over to Kentucky State Police. Jim Stratman joins us live this morning from Bardstown. And Jim, we're still really working to figure out the suspect's connection to the case here.
Yeah, that's right, Eric, because the indictment in this case, while it has already happened, it's not an unsealed indictment. It's currently sealed, so we can't see the details of it and see directly how Joseph Lawson is connected to the Crystal Rogers case. But what we can say is that last night, Lawson's attorney, Kevin Coleman, confirmed to us that the charges his client is facing are related to Crystal Rogers' disappearance and the
And those sealed documents will most likely be unsealed after his arraignment in October. So we should be getting those fairly soon thereafter.
federal investigation that's been going on for the last 3 years. Now, this is a breakthrough in a case that some probably thought would never come because of how long it has been since Rogers disappeared. But it is here, and that is giving some hope to some, and we are learning more about what exactly is going to be the next steps in this investigation. Now, we know that these are not small charges that Lawson is facing. He is facing a conspiracy murder charge and a tampering with physical evidence charge. His indictment is, again,
I have a funny feeling he was more of an accessory after the fact, Joseph Lawson. He was probably called in. I don't have any information. We do have a family member in our chat. She would probably be more of the expert on whether that is true. That's just kind of the vibe I'm getting as I'm listening to all of this going on. Okay, we got Regina in the back.
Good morning.
Well, hello, my love.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, I bet you my speakers are not working again because I can't hear you at all. Can you guys hear her? Give me just a second. I don't know why I can't hear you. Give me just a second. Let me just change my audio on here, my sound. Give me just a second. Audio, speaker. Let me bring you back to internal speaker. Are you there? We can hear?
Can you hear me
I
now?
can't hear for some reason. I don't know why. I'm not sure why I can't hear, but it's not letting me hear you at all. So I'm just going to roll through this.
Can you hear me now?
Shoot. Let me do one thing. Regina, can I just give me just a second? Let me turn my equipment off and see if that helps at all. I don't know. I'm having some issues with my mouse. It's a battery issue. I know what the problem is. Give me just a second. I know you guys can hear. I can't hear her at all. So I can't talk to her if I can't hear her. See, let me turn this off. Can you guys hear me now?
Can you hear me now?
I still can't hear you, Regina. You may have to go back. Come back.
Okay, let me try again.
There you are. Okay, I gotcha. I can hear you now. All right, love. How are you?
I'm okay. Crystal has been missing a long time, almost 9 years. My family has known the whole time that Huck was the reason she was missing. The guy Joseph that you're seeing that has also been arrested used to work for Huck. Huck owns a lot of property in Kentucky, different rental properties and stuff. His family has a huge farm. And at this point, the thing that I talked to my Aunt Daisy yesterday, because Crystal is extended family on my father's side. The thing that my family is the most adamant about in this case is there is no justice unless we bring her home, Betty. She deserves to be buried. She deserves a proper funeral. She was a good mom. I've only had the pleasure of meeting Crystal a couple of times during my life because she did live in Kentucky, extended family. I've met her and I've seen her at my grandmother's funeral was the last time I seen her. And she had another child after that I've never even got to meet. My father can give you more information on this case than my Aunt Daisy because she has kept up with everything on this case. But the people that y'all are seeing that are not Hutch being arrested are people that he hired as
Mazda's
hand
most
workers.
ambitious vehicle yet has a powerful, responsive inline-six turbo that holds nothing back. The first ever Mazda CX-9.
Commercials just pop up. Sorry about that. A commercial just popped up.
I thought it was on my end. I was trying to find it.
No, it's this stupid. I'm gonna go ahead and stop sharing because I want that happening again. There we go. Go ahead. Sorry about that.
The thing we've known for a long time. Our family has known. But honestly, without the feds getting involved in this, Betty, there probably still wouldn't even be an arrest. Because whenever people have money in these small communities, it's all swept under the rug. And I don't think people realize how serious of an issue this is in our country.
Oh yeah, they don't understand. That's why when I see corruption, they don't understand why I get so angry. It's because it affects people, it affects victims. When you have this, and that was going to be my question when you told me that the family owns all these properties and everything in this small town. It sounds like they probably have their hands in some politics, and that's the problem.
Yes, it really is. It really, really is the problem. These small communities, they thrive on these property owners and stuff renting these properties. They collect taxes off of it. And I'm not saying that this has been intentionally covered up. I'm not saying that this is a big scheme to cover this up, but I'm saying if he wasn't a property owner And if he didn't have his hands in on major funding, then this arrest would have probably been made sooner.
Yeah, well, we see it
And my
in
whole
Alec.
family feels that way.
Yeah, but we see it in Alec Murdaugh too, you know, where he was able to escape because of who he was. Nobody wanted to believe that he or somebody in his family could be responsible for something like this. It may be the same thing. Maybe they just didn't believe. But, you know, it comes down to evidence. And, you know, we are, I think as humans, we're always so impatient, especially when it's our loved one, you know, when it's us that wants answers. And sometimes those answers come slow. But what we can pray for is that they've got the case buttoned up so much so that there's no wiggle room for them to get out of it, that there is true accountability.
Right. Exactly. My dad, he spent some time in Kentucky after Crystal went missing.
Mm-hmm.
And I talked to him yesterday, and he told me that he has only been waiting for this arrest. He said he knew he's never liked
Oh, he was labeled
Never.
a main suspect in this case back in 2015. They said October 2015 when they said that she was deceased, that they had evidence of her being deceased. They named him as the primary suspect. So they had him. They just couldn't get him. They did whatever was there. The FBI got it and brought this home. I mean, that's all there is to it.
What actually led to them declaring her deceased instead of just still missing was the fact that everything, Betty, everything that she needed to carry on with any sort of life, her ID, her bank cards, her wallet, I mean, everything that all of her documents, even saying who she was, were in the car. When she went missing, everything was left behind that she needed.
Wow.
Everything. Her car, everything. Her car was found on the side of the highway.
So
Everything was in it, but she was gone.
Do
Come
you
on.
Yeah. Do you think there's going to be more arrests, or do you think it's limited to just him and his employee?
Well, we have our speculations because this guy Joseph that who had working for him, he is part of a small group of people that intertwine together that you're very right, Betty, are meth addicts. Meth addicts are cheap labor. I mean,
I'm telling you, I can look at somebody and tell you whether they're an alcoholic, whether they're on really, really harsh drugs, whether they're just a pothead, or whether they're doing blow in the bathroom. You know, I don't know what it is about that. I think it's just my experience, you know, but I can just look at somebody. He's very obvious. He's got problems.
I do think that there will be more arrests. But like I said, the main focus for our family, even with all of this, you know, is that we bring her body home. That's what we want. We want to bring her home and bury her, Betty. That's what we want.
I know. And you know, Regina, when I seen his charges, when I seen Lawson's charges, it just made me cringe because of that whole
Well, see, her and Brooke had a kid together.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, this is his child's mother.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I mean, the guy's a narcissistic psychopath, to be quite honest with you. We've always known. My dad didn't like Brooke the first moment he met him. He said the dude was a excuse for, I'm going to tell you exactly what my dad said. He said he was a prick and he should be behind bars. He was a threat to the public.
Wow.
And well, it's come to fruition, you know?
Yeah, but it's a day late and a dollar short, and it just keeps making me wonder, you know, how many other victims does he have that we don't know about, even if it didn't end this way. You know, it just seems like he's a very violent, brutal person.
He has no concern for anything that's not his want or wish. And he knows where she is. And sadly, my family thinks that he is going to hold on to this, and he's gonna take it all the way, and we're never gonna know where she is, Betty.
Yeah. Well, I have a funny feeling that he's not going to give it up, and something more brutal happened after that. Just from what I'm reading. And I don't even like, now that I know that you're family to her, like I'm dreading getting these court records. Like, it's like,
No.
I know you guys want answers too, but still, it's just it's got to be so hard. But you know what? That's why we have this channel, to discuss these things.
Right. Well, I appreciate what you do, Betty. And there's been times I haven't agreed with things and stuff, but your heart's in the right place with what you do, and I know why you're doing it. And I know that it's more of a drain on you economically and financially to do what you do than people realize.
Mm-hmm.
And all these naysayers and haters out here, they can talk all they want, they can do all they want, but keeping light on these families, just like with Crystal, keeping light on these families and what's going on is the only reason any of these people are ever brought home.
Yeah.
So I appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you, Regina. God bless you.
God bless you too.
Bye.
One more thing before I go. My Aunt Daisy has everything on this case. I'm supposed to be getting in touch with her this weekend. I'm supposed to be going to see her, and I will email you everything that I can that she says is okay for me to email you on this case.
Sure. Yeah, I'd love to cover it. And if nothing more, just bring some attention to this case that hasn't obviously went unattended for a little minute, but I'm glad that there's justice for your family. I know it doesn't bring back your cousin, doesn't bring back anything, and it still doesn't put her in her final resting place, but at least finally, after
you guys, there are members of my family that say if he will give us her body back, we will forfeit, if we can in any way, the death penalty in this case, because we just want her home.
But that's his last bit of control. That's his last bit of control he has. He's not going to give it up.
Right. So,
but they do have a possibility with Lawson, because I believe Lawson, if he's there for the conspiracy and the cleanup, then he probably has a good idea what happened. So hopefully they can get some answers with him. Maybe plea him out, give him a plea.
Lawson, Joseph is more desperate than who. So
yeah, that would be my angle too.
Yeah, that's what we're praying for. So everybody, please just send your prayers out to my family. They really need them right now.
Absolutely, Regina. You got our support. You have our support. The Coffee Club is behind you and your family 100%. And if there's anything that we can do for you or your family, just let us know.
Thank you, Betty. God bless you guys. Thank you for having me, Betty. Sorry it's under such solemn terms, but I appreciate you bringing light to this case. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming up and helping us understand it a little better.
Yes. Thank you.
All right, Regina, take care.
Bye-bye.
So it's not always easy to come up here. And of course, when something is affecting your family, it's even almost harder to speak because it's really raw. And so, Regina, thank you for being strong enough to give us a little insight and a little information into Crystal's case. It sounds like a long time coming, and I'm so thankful that we're here. But this is not going to be the last that we do on this case, obviously. We have Regina's in the chat room, and she'll get us. And I will go through the information and review it. Also, Regina, just to let you know that when I review it, I'll be reviewing it as well. If I think something might be just on the borderline of, probably something law enforcement would not want, I'll make sure that it's not. So I'll also do, just in case you guys, I don't understand. I hate Fox News. Like, I'm trying to run a show here and them and their stupid freaking commercials on their app. So I've got to turn all this off. All right, Fox News. Like, I'm over your shit. For fuck's sake. Like, I'm just over it. And then when you try to go close it, you know what it does? Guess what it does? It drops it down so you can't even close out. I don't know what's going on with this. My mouse isn't working. I had to shut my equipment down because my Bluetooth isn't working. So give me just a second. I was trying to do another story. It's Jennifer Kesse, I think is what it is. Oh, thank you. Inspire before you expire. Thank you. God bless you. And this is one right in my own backyard. And this is from many, many, many years ago, from whenever I was a young adult. And she disappeared from Orlando, from her condominium. Nobody's seen her since. Her parents actually live here in Manatee County. And it's coming up where, you know, there's not a whole lot of information. She's still missing. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up, because she was also talked about at CrimeCon. Her story was talked about from CrimeCon. I'm pretty sure this has something to do. I don't think that the person that did this to her was unknown to her. I have never thought that since I've been following this case for so long. Again, with it being right in my own backyard, or her parents at least being, we've had our missing person flyers all over town for years here, all over town for years. And so I'm going to try to get this up. And give me just a second. Sorry, and I'm really sorry about the whole thing with the noise, but every time I'm on a page with Fox News, God, some days I just can't. So they want their ad revenue. So let me give them freaking ad revenue so we can talk about this case. Jesus. I already did the advertisement. I think that's what it is because I did the advertisement first, so you guys don't have to see it, but I took so long in my commentary that we're gonna have to watch the commercial again. I would hate paying for this.
Is the investment
I've got to be honest
that helps
with
you
you. I would
invest
hate, if I had to come on here and pay to get this and have to deal with this, I would be
bigger bike trades and shiny new grip.
I don't pay for any of it. So.
Obviously, 2006 will be a day that we'll always remember. I was actually in the air flying up to New Jersey for business, and my sister had been trying to call me. We were playing telephone tag because we lived 20 minutes from Jen. So once they knew that she hadn't shown up for work, and it was very unusual, any phone calls to her cell phone immediately went to voicemail. They knew something wasn't right. And she lived in Orlando, yeah. And so when I didn't connect with my sister until 6 o'clock, and then it was just like, you know, like what? I mean, by that time they'd already been over, they'd already been into the condo. They realized that everything looked as if she had gotten up that morning to go to work, you know, left that couple of outfits that she was trying to decide on. And then from that point on, we don't know what happened. So somewhere between her door and her car, right, something happened. And then I arrived on Wednesday, and by that time my brother-in-law already got flyers made up, so we were canvassing, we were at major intersections. And then by Thursday, a resident at Huntington on the Green Apartments said, "Hey, that car that you're showing on the news, I think it's sitting in front of my apartment." So yeah, Huntington on the Green was about a mile from her complex, and she did not know anybody there. That's where that just happened to be a place where the car was dropped off. I mean, the person that last drove the car pulls into the spot, backs out, straightens out, sits for a few seconds, and then gets out and starts to walk. And then another camera picks up the angle, which is the classic one that shows the metal poles blocking the face. Police show up, and then that was a game changer because before you know it now, cars found, so now helicopters are flying, dog teams are out. It was just, everything was just moving very, very rapidly. And it all appeared early on to be very positive. I mean, and then before long, the management at the Mall Millennia allowed us the use of their community rooms. And we were, literally blown, like here, we're at this conference, we're blown away by the hundreds and hundreds of people that would come out to volunteer, to hand out flyers, to do whatever they could do to help. But from the case perspective, the frustration was with the Orlando Police Department. They were telling and saying one thing, and it turned out that it wasn't true. So there was just so much missed opportunity in the early days of that case that we then quickly learned that those missed opportunities are why we're where we are today. They made a claim that they didn't have anybody that spoke Spanish. So anybody that was on property, the workers that spoke Spanish, they didn't talk to them.
That is a little crazy if you ask me, that we have people that aren't Spanish speaking, so we just don't ask any Spanish. Like, that is unheard of. And especially in Orlando, I don't understand that. That doesn't make sense to me. I'm sorry, it just doesn't. But they're saying this as a statement of fact. Mike, I got your Big Mac.
Obviously, soon after, once police are canvassing the area and everything else, a lot of people never showed up again. So people who we had observed the first 2 days being present, all of a sudden they're gone. You don't even see those faces around anymore. I mean, they only kept the car for a short period of time. Initially claimed that that there wasn't any DNA evidence, there was nothing of consequence with the car. But after my sister and brother-in-law sued them and got the records from the OPD, had their own team call through the records, some 15, 18,000 records. In the records, it said that they collected DNA in the car, which they originally said that they did not. Found in the car, they originally had said that there wasn't any DNA. And, so a lot of pathways seemed to be shut because they didn't find anything. And then when they saw the photos of the car, that appeared there was a struggle on the hood of the car. We were never aware of that either. They took, obviously, when they took possession of the car, they tore it apart, did whatever they're supposed to do, and they took photographs. Those photographs were in the files, but they originally had said that there was nothing of value. They said that the family was nothing of value. What's really interesting was that David Siegel put up $1 million early on when Jen was missing. It didn't move the needle. Wow. So you would think that amount of reward would have motivated somebody, but did not. So many things were done right, at least from the family's perspective, to try to bring awareness. In the case of David Siegel, our employer, to provide reward money to help draw out information. Didn't move anything. Didn't move a needle. Nobody came forward. And here we sit, 17 and a half years plus later. The big hope had been for years, they had been asking for the OPD to transfer the case to FDLE, the Florida.
I have a problem, and I do agree that, I think there needs to be a point. Can you guys hear me okay? I went back to the equipment. I just want to make sure that it appears that everything's working right, and hopefully I'm working right on your end. Okay, so this is the problem I have. I think that there needs to be kind of like this stopgap type of something built into our laws. Not that we want, let me turn this off because it's going to start playing again. I just get so frustrated with Fox News. It sucks. But when we have a case that is, approaching, say, a double-digit mark, I personally believe that another agency should review it. I just think that there needs to be something built in our laws, like after 5 years, like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, it's required to go through a different process, not back through the same department. Even though it's different eyes, it's different detectives or different something. I just think it needs to go to different places. Like, you've had XYZ years to get your crap together. You were unsuccessful. Now it's time to move it on and see what the next agency will be able to do. After a year, Mike says, but just something. If your case is cold, maybe that needs to be the basis, of when it needs to be moved on. Maybe it needs to be when it's cold, when it's no longer, when you have no viable leads and no place for that to go. Maybe that needs to be what it is. Maybe that's, they should move it on and say, hey, TBI, I need you to review this and tell me if I'm missing something. Or FBI, maybe have a liaison. We know that many sheriffs and police departments actually have certified FBI agents in those organizations that they have as kind of liaisons for the FBI. And it's their communication person that they go to that has the communication with the FBI. So I just think that if we had something like that, it seems like it would be more meaningful, because at the end of the day, the victim in clearing these cases and in seeking justice should be the number one priority. If it truly is the number one priority, what would it hurt to send it off? How would it injure the case to send it to a different organization that might be able to help? Or are there investigative, maybe a public-private partnership with maybe an organization that does in-depth investigations. You know, there are some military type of security organizations that have more experience than some of these police departments because they were in the military, they were part of, you know, SWATs or, you know, like the SEAL teams. They have just more education, more expertise, more experience in finding and hunting and tracking down, as well as, you know, being able to handle themselves. You know, maybe a public-private partnership, something like that might actually, but you know how I feel when it starts bringing in, you know, something that can, you know, when money is involved, corruption will exist. It is the cancer of money, right? It's the cancer of money. But I just think it needs to be moved on. I think you have an opportunity to have a bite at the apple. When it's soured, you need to let it ripen up. Move it on. Move it on. It's not something that should sit and get dust on it. And you know when it should sit and get dust on it? When it went through all the processes and it's gone through all the departments and everybody's kind of saying, hey, we just don't have it. You know, it's went through the county. Now it's at the state. Now it's at the feds. Nobody can crack it. Fine. Now it's a cold case. Now I can accept that it's a cold case. But I feel like there just needs to be something that moves the case forward. Like right now, Summer Wells is still with Hawkins County. I don't see them. When you heard John Pruitt talk about all the organizations he had disdain for the fact that he had to work with other organizations in solving this young girl's, that tells me that they're pompous. That tells me that they're unwilling to learn or listen. That tells me that they think they got this. Well, you know what? You don't have this. We're 3 years later. Nothing has happened. So it's time to acknowledge that this case is cold. It's time to acknowledge that Hawkins County and their department does not have what it takes to close this case, and it's time to move it on. It's time to get it out of the hands of Hawkins County and move it to TBI. And so that's what they did in Crystal's case. And, you know, as soon as they were able to do that, within 3 years, they were able to close the case. They waited 5 years and did nothing. And I shouldn't say did nothing. You know, I don't want to discredit law enforcement because we don't know that they did nothing. We just know they couldn't bring it home. Mike, I don't know. I think I'm going to have to check my temperature. I'm going to have to check my temperature because I'm either sick or you're sick. I don't know who's sick, but one of us are sick because you and I don't agree on anything. So I don't know whose temperature needs to be taken here, but one of us are sick. I feel normal. I gotta be honest with you. I feel normal. We'll let you say she's responsible until she's arrested, and then Mike's gonna be, Candace, go free. Candace didn't do it. Oh, she loves her daughter. When those fake crocodile tears and snot starts dripping out of her mouth and nose. I'm just joking. I'm just joking. We reward cops for writing tickets far too often and solving real crimes way too much. They need to give these cold cases to the public transparency, bring change. To the public. Yeah. But see, this whole public transparency thing, in all fairness, there's a couple of sectors, in my opinion, that we need transparency. And one is in our alphabet soup of child welfare. Because at the end of the day, the child welfare aspect of this, it also bothers me because whenever we go to look to find out what problems are going on behind the scenes, and we ask for, like, say, public record requests, we are hit with confidentiality. We can't turn that over to you because it has confidential information. Then redact the crap. Redact it. Privacy is not my issue. My issue is making sure that an entity that is taking care of our children are doing what they're supposed to be doing. And every time I go to look into whether they're doing what they're supposed to be doing and there's no shenanigans, I'm hit with confidentiality. So something's got to give here because we know there's something funky going on in the child welfare program. We know that there is sometimes in these types of cases in smaller towns, there's breeding ground for corruption, especially if the suspect or person of interest is politically aligned or has financial wealth that makes them politically aligned or helps them. No politician. You got to remember, these counties are poor. They only have a few major players in their community that support the majority of the community. That's the way it works. We call those people kind of, you got your politicians that you vote in office as the decision makers, but we all know that even the decision makers have their decision makers, right? And it's usually their highest donors. Their highest donors get to kind of encourage their politician along to make sure that they are getting what they want. Just saying. It's how it works. It's how it works. Yes, it's free. It is free to say thank you to me and free to say thank you to the mods that try to keep our chat, free from all the crazy out there on YouTube. So if you're enjoying your experience, if you are getting some information that you enjoyed, please consider giving BHB and team a thumbs up. Okay, so let me just go over this with Jennifer's case. So this is in Orlando, Florida. Jennifer's family is holding out hope for potential DNA evidence might someday help investigators solve her 2006 disappearance. Jennifer vanished from her Orlando, Florida condo on January 24th, 2006, when she was 24 years old. She had placed several outfit choices on her bed that morning for work before leaving her new condo located in the complex of Mosaic at Millennia. Her uncle Bill Gilmore told Fox Digital at CrimeCon 2023. Authorities located her vehicle, a black 2006 Chevy Malibu, at a different residential complex called Hampton on the Green. This is what I know just in my experience of watching all of this stuff. It is my understanding that typically where that car was located, when, like, if somebody took that car and drove that car and left it somewhere, it's my understanding that it's typically left near where the assailant most likely came from. So if this was left at this Mosaic, I don't think it was at that one, but Huntington on the Green, I'm pretty sure that he is probably closer to that complex than he was to Mosaic, because the Mosaic complex was only within a mile of it. So any assailant could have literally walked away. He chose to drive in that direction. That means that direction is probably most likely the direction where he lives or where he came from. Those are, just things that we learn covering true crime. Does it mean that that's the case for every single time? No, it doesn't. We live in statistics. This is for the majority of the statistics, but there are still some statistics that don't bode with the fact that, he could have dropped that off there to throw investigators off and got an Uber and went 20 miles away from there. We don't know. I mean, he could have had a friend pick him up. I mean, he could have had his car sitting there and walked to the other one to commit this crime and then drove back, got in his car and left. I mean, there's so many possibilities here. But I can tell you that typically when we start hearing of vehicles leaving, and this vehicle was about a mile away from Mosaic at Millennia. So think about that, just about a mile away, because typically people usually park their vehicle about a mile away from where they need to go, because a mile walk is not really that bad. Anybody can pretty much do a mile walk. It's just something about it. People like them when they steal cars and dump them. They're usually within a mile or two from where they are staying. I don't know why criminals do that. They just do. They don't want to walk. They're lazy, right? They can commit atrocities, but good Lord, they don't want to walk, but they're probably just, we don't know what he could have been covered in blood. God knows. But either way, it sounded like we still don't even know where she's at, from my understanding. So I don't know. The Orlando Police Department apparently claimed that there wasn't any evidence or nothing consequential with her car, said Gilmore, who recently published a book, Aftermath of Jennifer's Abduction, An Uncle's Quest for Understanding and Inspiring Life Lessons. But after my sister and brother sued them and got the records from the OPD, and had their, and I got to tell you, I'm going to tell you something about Orlando Police Department, but got the records from OPD and had their own team comb through the records of more than 15 to 18,000 documents. It said that that they collected some DNA from that car, which that information was withheld from law enforcement. We've had experience. I personally had experience down with the Orlando Police Department. And I've got to be honest with you, my experience has not been good. Okay. My experience with the Orlando Police Department has been far from a very good experience. There was an issue. You guys remember Paola Miranda Rosa? She was the young lady that was seen walking in what was the name of that river? She's the one I got those huge blisters on the bottom of my feet. I was out in the swamp. We walked 20 miles. I was like literally ready to drop. I was so lost. Either way, the way this all worked is it was a little weird because where she disappeared from was Osceola County, but it bordered up to Orange County, which is Orlando. And there was some kind of issue there between the two counties because one of the counties kind of was responsible for the natural park, okay, the reserve. And the other one is kind of the county people because they were actually there. And then they were kind of using resources because one knew how to work and search, more swamplands where the other department didn't have experience. So there was a lot of convoluted information getting back to Paola Miranda Rosa's family as to whether who was actually running the investigation. And even when we went there for questions, we were met with, in my profession, they were in some cases very rude to the family and demeaning. And I witnessed it myself. And it was disgusting to me. And I also had a second experience where I was out with a group of people. We were protesting. It was for a political event. It wasn't really protesting. It was more of, I guess you could say, kind of like a rally, but it was on public property. So but it was a bunch of, nobody was doing anything wrong, is what I'm saying. And then this one Yahoo decides to come up there and start assaulting people. And assaulting people, making gestures with the vehicle. It was a big deal. And law enforcement was there because when we have those type of things, we have to have traffic control. So law enforcement is already there. Making sure that everybody's being able to flow and whatnot. So we have like law enforcement. It's like on a crossroad and it's a large one. It's like a 6-lane highway. Long story short, so there was a lot of officers out there. So we're getting their attention. Like, this person is assaulting another person. We're all recording this, and these officers got their thumb up their ass, like it's not their problem. And if you feel like you want them arrested, go up to the office and fill out the report. And if we know who they are, we will just totally unprofessional. Somebody was assaulted. A report they should have arrested the person right then and there. They let the person drive off without even getting their name. So even if that person did go up to the sheriff's department to make a claim against the person that assaulted them, law enforcement didn't even get their information to even say who it was. Law enforcement was right there. Didn't even get their license plate. I had to send the license plate and the video over to the person. I don't know if the person that assaulted her was arrested. But I gotta say, we do not support violence. We do not support violence. People should be free to do what they wish with themselves, their body. If they break the law, that's between them and the law. It's not between them and you. You want to cover a case, so you want to cover a crime, then do that. But creating the chaos is just nutty. But there's a lot of, we see it every single day. There's a lot of mental illness here on the streets of YouTube, and probably why. So, they can't get a job. They're home all day. They're unemployable. They're on disability. There's nothing wrong with it, but they're just angry individuals that have nothing better to do with their time. And we have to understand that, and we have to ignore it. And that means for all of us, when people come in here and say nasty comments, we don't need to engage with them. We don't even need to say hi. You know what? They're here for attention. So the best thing that we can do as a group and as a community, when these trolls come in here, act like they don't exist. And even when they get annoying, they will be blocked. And they may have to come back in here a few times, but eventually they'll just exhaust themselves out. They're not getting the attention that they want. It's not having the affected result that they're intending. So they're not going to continue to do it. And, I think as a community, we just need to ignore it. Think about it. That's what we preach. If we don't like what they're saying, or they don't like what we're saying, we're telling them to ignore it. We need to do the same. I will be deleting the nonsense. I don't need to read it. Neither does my fans or the community. So it will be removed. So there's no big deal. And, just don't read it. Don't engage. Don't read. Drown out the noise. We're so much better than that drama and garbage. We need to refocus this back because, this is their gimmick. They get you into that drama. They pull you in, and then they capitalize off of it for profit. If we stop engaging, they can't capitalize it off of profit. All they can do is sit there and complain about me talking about crime cases. How boring is that? I'm not that interesting of a person. Like, these people have been stuck on stupid for freaking 2 years. They're just ridiculous. I literally think they have mental disabilities at this point. Something is seriously not right with them. They seriously have a chemical imbalance. And probably some of these people are already on some prescriptions for mental health from their doctors. So they're probably, they will never tell us that, but they still think it's me. Look, I'm not on any kind of medications, folks. Okay. Like I'm perfectly mentally healthy. I don't take anything but ibuprofen. So if you're on if you think I'm the horrible worst person and you're taking psychedelic type of drugs that the doctor prescribes to you because you got emotional problems, trust me, honey, it's not me. It's you. Like, it's you so much so that you're on the medication. I take no medications. I have no prescriptions. And it's not to down anybody that is taking care of themselves mentally, but it's these people that just can't stop and can't seem to control themselves and can't seem to keep their stuff on their channel. We keep all of our stuff on this channel. I don't need to, I can run this channel all day long, all by myself and hit numbers. I don't need to have a full panel of people to make my life interesting or make my content interesting. I bring information, people come to watch. I don't need help. The only time I need help is when we're out there in the field and we're searching. Then I need all your help. Then I need every single one of your butts out there. So, but anyways, it's just the I can tell you that Orlando Police Department, the Sheriff's Department, I think we were at the Sheriff's Department. I'll have to go back to the video, but it wasn't a good experience. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then I'm hearing how they dropped the ball in this, and I'm thinking, well, you're looking at Paola Miranda Rosa. There's no evidence that Paola was attacked by a gator, guys. There's literally no evidence. There's never been any jewelry. There's never been any clothing. There's nothing that showed up for her. But this is what I can tell you, that at her car, it was unlocked. It had her cell phone in it. It had her keys in it. It had her money in it. It had her wallet in it. And it looked like that there was a towel back there draped over her stuff, looking like it was dried, like she got out of the flipping water. And Sandy flip-flops or shoes, or sandals. So it almost appears, call me stupid, that she made it out of the water and made it back to her car. But Osceola in Orlando decides to post big gator signs throughout the park instead of actually searching for her. And she could very well be ST'd. She could have been abducted. and nobody's looking for because everybody's got it chalked up to a gator bite, a gator attack. But there was no evidence. Like, you have evidence of, guys, it's not like a gator just comes up and swallows you whole. There's evidence. Your clothes, they're not going to eat your clothes. At some point, what you're wearing is going to float down the river. Nothing she had on that day has ever showed up. But again, everything that she owned was in that car. That car was unlocked. Her keys were in that car. Her shoes were at that car. I can personally tell you that for me, there's no way you can get back to Otter Creek without shoes. Every person out there, I was in boots with steel toes, and it hurt me to walk that. Now, I did see people running down there with their, Nike shoes. So obviously, but I don't see anybody walking out there barefooted. There's so many stumps and little stubs. Like there's these little hard things that grow out of the ground. They're like this, but they always trip your stupid foot, and they're hard as a rock. Can you imagine stubbing your toe on one of those things without a shoe on? You're talking about, I'm sure, pretty excruciating pain. So it just sounds like Orlando Police Department could do a little better. And this was from 2006. My experience was just recently, within the last 2 years. So nothing's really changed much for the department, in my opinion, based upon what I'm hearing here, because this is a lot of the same that we were dealing with Paola Miranda. I have to be honest with you. So they did sue him for the court records. The Florida Department of Law Enforcement took over the case in November, and change could allow for new testing of potential DNA evidence from Kesse's car. Listen to this, guys. If they have a DNA profile, we're going to have a case closed really soon. This investigative genetic genealogy testing, guys, is really, really making headways. You guys know how I feel about the privacy issues. I'm not going to beat a dead horse because I'm conflicted. I think my privacy is more important, in my opinion. I'm sorry that I feel that way, but my privacy is important to me. But you guys know I love cases, and I love true crime, and I think solving cases is great. So I'm conflicted with the way they're able to do this and stuff, and just want to make sure. I just think they need subpoenas. I think it keeps everybody honest and uppity up, and it's good to go. That's what I just believe. No harm, no foul. It doesn't prejudice anybody. It's just one extra step that must be go through to get into the investigative genetic genealogy. It's not to prevent them from going there. That's all I'm saying. Because I think that what they're doing with this stuff is amazing. And I can't stress that enough. Closing cases and getting these victims answers and getting their families justice, that is amazing. But I just want to make sure that this is not going to be utilized, because I love the law. I worked for attorneys. We defended people. So I do have that concern. Okay, I have the concern about the slippery slope that we find ourselves getting in this country. And I just want to make sure that if we're going to use that the people that want to contribute to help law enforcement solve cases, by all means, have that right and should not be prevented from having that right. But I want to make sure that anybody that wants to keep their biological material private has that right as well, because their privacy matters to them. And so I just think, and I thought about this. I know they have a lot of directives related to this investigative genetic genealogy. I know that their justice systems has this major protocol for the FBI. But me personally, I'm sorry, just me personally, they have subpoenas for everything else, to pull information from Google, to pull this, to go into a home, to go into a car, to go into an office. They have to go out there and get a subpoena and prove that they are entitled to that. And I'm sorry, I think that should be applied here. If they're entitled to it, they should have it and they should get it. And I just feel like this would keep them honest. Just my personal, but the double-edged sword to that is now it's causing an extra process that must be gone through in order to get answers in these cases. Again, conflicted. I'm conflicted. I really am. I'm conflicted. I think that this is amazing, but if they can pull a DNA profile from Jennifer's case, I believe that they're going to be able to build a tree and hopefully bring this case to an end. Her family has been, I remember this case. I truly remember the first time it was aired. I remember where I was sitting. I remember being at my father's house. I remember being in the living room of my father's house. And I remember watching the news and this story coming up on, I think it was either the 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock news. I remember this. And it wasn't until, and I forgot about it for many years. I have to be honest with you. Jennifer's case, I forgot about for many years. And I was driving, I went out to the beach and I was driving home. And right at 75th Street and Manatee Avenue, we have like this, I think it's a Verizon box. You know, those big metal boxes that are on the side of the road. I think they run the traffic cameras, but they also are like a hub for the telephone services in the area or something. But they're right there. They're big metal boxes. I don't know. They're like 2 foot by 4 foot or whatever, you know. So anyways, there was this big poster board on it as I was coming. I didn't notice it going to the beach. I was coming back from the beach and it caught my eye and I saw her picture. And I remember for the first time, I'm like, I thought that case was solved. And you could tell it was a new round of missing person flyers that were being posted up for any information, you know, that can provide where Jennifer is. But I remember that right there, I want to say was about 7 or 8 years ago. 7 or 8 years ago. So I heard about this case when it happened. I thought it had been solved, out of sight, out of mind. Then I see this poster here in my town because her mom and dad live here. And I saw it about 7, 8 years ago. And then that was the first time I realized her case was never solved. We've talked about her case briefly on this channel. I want to say about 1.5 years ago, maybe it was fairly new when I got to YouTube. So it was early on, but we have covered this case because it's in my backyard. And now we're kind of covering this case again because it looks like there might be some movement in it. And I hope that they are because this case is sad. This case is sad. And she, in all fairness, was only a few years older than me when she went missing. So she would be a few years older than me right now if she was still alive. She lost her life. We know she's gone. We know she's never going to be reunited with her family again in the flesh. But they still want to find out what happened to her and find out where she's at. She didn't run away. Something happened to her. Something bad happened to her. So hopefully this investigative genealogy testing, you know, the advancements with DNA, this investigative genetic genealogy testing, everything is really starting to come together for law enforcement. And they're really being able to have tools that can truly help them. You know, some of these detectives, you know, I watch Forensic Files. You guys know I've been binge watching it and just seeing these you know, these shoe detectives, you know, these ones that hit the pavement and work the leads, you know, this has really been helping them as well. You know, cleared cases are cleared cases and we want to know what happened. And not just us, more importantly, the families, right? We're just second nature. We're just second nature. The families are first and they need their answers. So hopefully let's keep our fingers crossed, guys. You know, if they have DNA in that car, we know that here soon they're going to have a suspect. I just feel it. I feel it in my for my curse jar today. Well, my cursing today is not bad as when I went off, when I had my raging. It's not what they call it when I start screaming. It's like raging. I'm thinking, babe, if you ever seen me rage, you'd say like you think I'm talking. I can honestly say that no matter what clickbait that they want to have, they have never, ever, ever seen me rage. Ever. Nobody's seen me rage. And actually, I shouldn't say that. My mom has seen me rage. My mama has seen me rage. My family, people that are close to it, they see you just let something just, yeah. But nobody here on the streets of YouTube have ever seen this woman rage. I can promise you that. And when I do, I can tell you, you probably don't want to say a word or a spit about it, because that's when my horns come out and my pocket full of crazy just rolls on all over the place. Yes, sir. Half holy, half hood. You can pray with me, but don't play with me. What else do we have? I know we had some other stuff. Let me just go through here. So let's just get to, I'll have to cover some other stuff tomorrow. So here's what's going on with the Bryan Kohberger stuff. So we need to go through the docket. We need to check the docket really good, because what they've been doing is they've been hiding stuff off the docket because they have it sealed or whatever. And now that we're not so laser focused on Bryan Kohberger and the Idaho 4 or this case, some things are popping in the docket. And they're not popping in the docket at the bottom, letting us know that we got new documents. No. They're putting them up there in the order where they were. So when we're looking at the bottom, we're saying, no new documents. Well, listen to this. So I just, me, I do a lot of research on any given day. So I'm doing some research on, what are we going to update you guys with Bryan Kohberger, right? What news could I provide to you guys about Bryan Kohberger that's meaningful? This whole thing about them dropping the hearing and, I don't care about that crap. I don't think my audience cares about that crap. We care about substance issue type of things. We want to know what's going on in the case. If a court hearing is rescheduled, who cares, right? That's my philosophy. But this is where I read this article and I'm like, what? It says Idaho authorities probe Amazon click activity for knives and possible connection to college killings. And yesterday, if you guys recall, I was talking about how my theory is he purchased the knife from Pennsylvania. I believe that he went to Wazoo to carry out this crime. I think that the idea of the crime was going to go forward. However, who the actual victim would eventually be was not yet realized until he got there. But I also said a big if, and I said if, very, very bigly, if he purchased this knife in Pennsylvania, then it does, provide a lot of weight to my theory about him going all the way to Wazoo to carry out this crime. Because there's other programs, you know what I'm saying? There's other programs, PhD programs that were a lot better programs. Cost, I know, may have been a factor, but Wazoo is not cheaper than another college closer to him. So I always had a problem with, why did he go all the way out to Wazoo? It's not like he got a scholarship to go there. So it just boded. So long story short is when this caught my attention, because we were just talking about the Amazon and the purchase and the knife sheath just yesterday. So when I saw this coming up yesterday afternoon, I thought, wow, this is pretty interesting. We were just touching on this. And I'm looking into this and I'm like, wait a minute. These are saying September 8th. Now, I know you guys may not know this, but I'm going to let you guys in on something. Anything on that docket, Bryan Kohberger's docket, okay, anything is printed out. I print it out. I've got stacks of paper around this house like this. And not around this house, right here. If you guys can see that right there. Oh, I'm killing my second screen. See that desk right there? See all those papers? I've got stacks and stacks of papers, okay, about the Bryan Kohberger. When it is released, I go there, I print it, I read it, I mark it up, I highlight it, I put notes on it. So when we have to talk about it, I know exactly what's in there. You know, I have this down. I have this down pat. So I'm reading this and I'm like, September 8th, I don't have anything here for September 8th. I've got affidavits, because if you remember, there was the whole camera situation going on the second time that we did the whole flygate, crotchgate thumbnail, because it was such an incredibly laughable argument from the defense on why they wanted the cameras out of the courtroom. And so it was right where all that was going on. So we were seeing the affidavits and other people coming in and requesting to do the camera, and the judge was denying. We went through all those, and I even did a video on why they were being denied, because they had the pool camera. So it didn't seem like the judge was really interested in throwing the cameras out of the courtroom. That's what I said. Based upon this, it doesn't look like he's really having an issue with the cameras being here. So I'm not really too focused on that. Well, when I read this article and started hearing that there was all these sealed warrants coming back from related to Bryan Kohberger's case, and they were hitting the docket on September 8th, I think is what they said, September 8th. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's nothing like that. So they're sneaking this stuff in, but they're putting it in date order. So if we're not watching that docket, there's stuff we're missing. So I think it's probably going to behoove all of us just to go through the entire docket. Like, I think I'm going to do a special live. Today's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday, so TGIF. Maybe we're just going to go through the live. Maybe it's time for us to just go to the beginning and go through all these documents in order and just see what we have, because now we're starting to see stuff out of order. Like, this stuff from September 8th was just put on the docket in the last few days, but it's from September 8th. So we're reading it out of order, because there's like 100 different things that are there. And it's these orders right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. Let me see if I can blow this up just a little bit. There we go. Right there. They just popped in. You see that? Order seal Amazon, order seal Apple, order seal PayPal, Venmo, order seal Spotify, order seal YouTube. So those were not there last week. None of those were. And they're not put down here at the bottom of the docket. You see? They're not put down here at the bottom of the docket. They put it in order. So those were from 9/8, even though they haven't been on the docket, they're not at the bottom of the docket. If I didn't read that article, I wouldn't even know that these things were on this docket. I just happened to come across that article and read it. So I thought it would be really good for us to, go through some of this stuff together, because this is the search warrant stuff related to Bryan Kohberger. We know it was sealed. Megan Marshall sealed it, but I want to see if there's any information in here that we can get out of this. And I just want the evidence log. What was it? So here's the search warrant, and it says return of search warrant. This is from Lawrence Mowry. We know about his history because he's the person for just about everything. So they're asking for the person described. They want from Amazon. This is the Amazon one, and they blocked out what they were looking for, which is common for us. But according to the document, the news article, they're looking for Bryan Kohberger's purchasing history. So here it is, and this is again. It looks like an affidavit, and he says, given proof of oath, blah, 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 blah. This is regarding the homicides and burglary of the King Road on November, blah, 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 the following Amazon account. So they're looking for anything from March 2022 through March 30. Very specific, guys. March 20, so a 10-day window in 2022. And a little over a 30-day window. So they really drew this in. They're saying here, let me blow this up so you guys can see it just a little bit better. So from March 20th, 2022 through March 30th, a 10-day window, that's it. And then November 1st, 2022 to December 6th, 2022. So I'm curious, maybe they're looking also for cleanup material, because we know that the girls and the victims were killed on the 13th. But I find it really funny that they are only looking for March 20th to March 30th, 2022. And that was several months before he went to Wazoo. And I'm speaking of Bryan Kohberger. He is Bryan Kohberger. So Bryan Kohberger did not leave to go to Wazoo until, what was it? Was it April? I want to think it was like April, or no, it was June. It was June. He went June because there was the whole conflict with his phones, because he got a new phone and they couldn't, and he got that on June 23rd before he left. So he wasn't even there. So it sounds like they think he purchased it in March 2022 before he left to go to Wazoo. And I'm wondering if they think maybe he might have purchased it right before he did the slaying. Maybe that's why November's there, or if they think that he may have purchased protective equipment, to carry out this. I don't know. I'm speculating. I'm wildly speculating with all this. I'm just throwing out any kind of theory that just kind of pops in my head. We don't know if it's true, but I just find it a little odd. There are very specific dates here, and it means something. I'm going to let you guys know. I don't know what it means, but having this specific of a dates, it means something. It means something. So they're looking for all records pertaining to reviews, pertaining to all items reviewed by user. So they're looking for just anything that's just reviewed, not even purchased, anything reviewed. Reviewed by other Amazon users, viewed by users, and comments the user has made. Advertising data to include all advertising related to the account, including but not limited to advertising cookies. Wow. Any information identifying the device or devices used to access the account, including a device serial number, a GUID, a global unique identifier, an Android identifier, a phone number, a serial number, a MAC address, a ESN, a mobile identification number, a mobile equipment identifier, just a litany of things here. All accounts linked to the target account, including where linked by machine cookie or other cookie, creation or login IP address, recovery, email, or otherwise, which is stored on the premises, maintained, controlled, and or operated by Amazon.com, Amazon property. There were multiple other warrants that are search warrants that were issued in this matter, but this is the one that's kind of the most important to me and stands out the most to me. And it's because we were just recently discussing how Bryan Kohberger and this knife sheath, and where did it come from and where could it be? I don't know where it could be, but we know he turned his phone on after the killings. We know he took a weird way home from the 1122 King Road home. So it's just odd. It's odd behavior. I truly believe that this man was twisted and bent before he ever left home. And I think that if he didn't get the itch before he took the class with Catherine Ramsland, I believe he got the itch and knew who he was by the time he was done with that class. And I think that he really believed that he could create the perfect crime. I believe he set out. I think this was a game to him. Again, I don't think this was sexually motivated at all. I don't think he's an incel. I think this is simple. He thought he could do it. I think that he does not have any capacity for empathy or sympathy or compassion for another human being. I don't think he's designed like that. I don't believe that he even understands why he is the way he is. I think he does understand there is something terribly wrong with him, but he doesn't understand what. I think over life, that's why he was so observant to so many people. While he was so observant to so many people, whenever, like people knew he was odd. Like it wasn't like this, it was strange to him. They knew he was odd. They knew he was very, very odd behavior. He had odd behavior throughout most of his life. So at some point he had to come to realization that he was just a little different than everybody else. And I think that you remember that a statement from the coworker of his or something to that effect, where the coworker said something that she just always noticed that he was very curious about other people's behaviors, why other people got upset, why other people got sad. It just didn't seem like he had that aspect. He didn't have that aspect of those life skills at that time. And he never seemed to quite understand emotion, I think is probably the best to describe it, I would assume. I'm not quite sure how else I would describe it, but either way, guys, it's been 3 hours. I'm exhausted. We got still a lot more stuff to cover, but I'm just not going to get to it today, no matter how much I work about this. I think I spent too much time because I'm so passionate about Layla Santinello and, what's going on in Jen. Jen is just, my heart hurts for Jen. I don't know how to explain it than that. It just, when I hear that she's being injured by mean people online, it breaks my heart. When I hear a professional that basically conned his way into their life, and then she's basically says, all right, pony up, show me what you got. And it's, we're taking you down, lady. I'm coming for you. I'm going to expose you. All right, Jim Terry. Oh, I'm sorry, Steve. Jim, Steve, Jim, Steve. They don't look alike, but they act alike. Who am I talking about? I can't decide. Holy smokes. But either way, it just is sad. No parent should have to go through that. People should be able to come here on social media with any problem, whether it's a car problem, whether it's the dryer won't turn on, whether it's, I got to change out my battery on my MacBook computer. We may be dropping every 5 minutes if I can't do the battery right. Like I got the battery here. I'm going to be replacing it today. We'll see where it goes. I may not be able to power this up tomorrow, but they make a YouTube for that, right? So but there's so many things on here that can really help so many people. And there's families that come here that really need the help of social media to get their family member out. I don't understand anybody, even as a joke, like you youngsters out there that watch this stuff. I don't know how that makes you feel good to hurt an innocent woman that's just trying to find answers for her daughter. She is innocent. She has nothing, and I mean nothing to do with the disappearance of her daughter. She's not even remotely a person of interest or a suspect in the case, and damn sure has not been a suspect in the case for 2 flipping years. So I don't know what this man thinks he's going to expose about her. But I can tell you, if you want to start playing stupid games, you're going to get stupid prizes. And people that like to play these dangerous games that are licensed, we have control over that, buddy. I just want to make sure that that's clear. You can get in a lot of trouble. You can have your license in jeopardy for some of the games you're playing here on YouTube, and you really don't want to be screwing with Jen. I would just let it go if I were you. Just my honest opinion, because I tell you, I say this all the time. You don't want me involved, right? Because when I get involved, nobody's fucking happy. Nobody. And I mean nobody, because everybody's going to feel it. But I promise you, I'm not going to allow some douchebag to hurt a mother of a missing child over my dead body. And I ain't dying anytime soon, buddy. So I just want to make sure that if anybody doesn't understand what I'm saying here, I'm saying it will not happen. I do travel. I don't have a problem, Steve. I will go to your state personally to handle this. Personally. If I need to help this family. I would just tell you, you're out of the case. You've chose to be out of the case. So you knock it off and move on. But if you think you're going to come and turn around and attack Jennifer Santinello or expose her somehow, I will be up your ass so far. People are going to wonder if it's me walking around or you. And you don't want to see my ugly side. You just don't. So you don't want to be in the case. You're out the case. But if you think you're going to injure Jennifer Santinello, I will promise you that will be your biggest mistake you have ever made. I don't really guarantee a lot of things. I never put guarantees on anything, but I can guarantee that. That I can guarantee. So at the end of the day, guys, I'm exhausted. I'm tired. I will see you guys later. It's already noon. I'm going to grab something to eat, and I will see you guys back here real soon. We may go live later this afternoon. I always say I'm going to go live in the afternoon, and then something happens where I just don't. It's whether I just don't, I'm just tired, or something else has come up and I just don't feel like dealing with it. But there's a lot of things that are just, going on. But so, if I'm up for it, I will be live in the afternoon. If I'm not, then you'll see me tomorrow morning. But I promise you, we still have a lot. And we still have Alec Murdaugh to still cover. Like I feel so bad for the clerk. She did everything right, and they're already still canceling. They're canceling some of the stuff she's doing, like her book signing in some places. I feel really bad for her. She did everything right, and she's being dragged through the mud by James Griffin and Dick Harpootlian, and it's like, it's so disgusting, but they're doing a job. They have a job to do, and we can't fault them for doing their job well. That's the way I look at it. All right, guys, I love you. God bless you. I promise you I will turn the phones on. My mom called, Turkey Man. I know you called as well, but we'll just have to save it until tomorrow. And I'm just exhausted. So I'll talk to you guys soon. We'll be back with more information. So God bless you, and go out and have a great Thursday. And we'll be back. TGIF. God bless.